Yeah.
Oh, no!
Man, what was that? What you need? Coach. Welcome to Straight Card. Get off our lawn. Wow. Welcome to the Straight Red Card from my barren new place of
Derek's in prison.
residence. I'm in prison. No. I've actually never done anything to warrant being in prison. Maybe I've missed something in life. I don't know. Probably not. But a lot of people make a lot of money by doing some very unscrupulous things. And maybe I could have been like a millionaire 4 times over had I been an evil Derek, but I wasn't. So, anyhow, it's a new place. I'm in Fishers. I got nothing on the wall because I haven't got to that yet. Still got boxes up to my freaking chin. I got to open up but it's nice. It's smaller than my goddamn fucking huge house. I don't have to clean shit. I don't have to fucking dust rooms that nobody are in. What's
the way you said it's nice is the same way that whenever you ask if a girl if your dick's big enough, and she's like, it's a good size. Yeah.
Really?
That's what it sounded like.
I don't even ask because I know what's going to happen.
No.
Yeah. Because I don't. Well, they
giggles and laughter, huh?
They bring it up
Same
first.
as me.
They bring it up first. They're like, that was unexpected, but nice.
Smaller than I expected is what they say.
And now that's the one place in life that treated me well. I'll have to say. I have other faults. All right, the turd in the background. Welcome back to the Straight Red Card, a show where the hosts are so old their TV is at full volume and they still can't hear it. Herc Gomez dropped me on Monday. And
Monday, probably?
Probably on Monday. And I like to eat the pussy. All right. Great. Thanks, turd.
The turd, you got name dropped on Herc's show? Or did he name drop you the proper name, Michael?
Michael Cameraman? Did he say turd or did he say Michael Cameraman? Because I missed that.
Chambers, is there still a double audio going on here? Is there still something fucked with the audio?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Because Chris immediately jumps in and says, I thought my earbuds are fucked up.
Is it so bad it's unlistenable? That's
my
my question.
I'm trying to find out if it's even happening still. It might have just been during the intros. Just during the intro. We're good.
Okay, because it was happening to me on the intro too. And I was thinking, oh, fuck. What's going on? What technical issue is going on now? And is it my fault, as usual?
That's because Stu has a comment for you, Derek. Stay away from his grandma.
I'm perfectly happy with Xamter and a little fucking, WD-40, and I'm good to go. So, not WD-40. Don't use that. I'm not saying that's what you should use. Stick to the Vaseline. It's much easier. But I was married, guys, for a long time. I have 2 kids. I have really no interest in women at this point. Like having one in my life to cause problems and irritate me, or I'm not saying all women will. I'm just saying there's a lot of drama involved with that. And I'm just done with drama at this point. I don't need drama. I went through a divorce. That's drama. I won't go into the other issues. It's just drama. It's a lot of women are drama. Brett's lucky. Probably not a lot of drama there because,
I don't like drama.
EB wears the pants in the family. So,
No. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Probably.
Maybe you both wear the pants. One each one
we do
leg.
both wear pants.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The turd in the background says, he said cameraman, but Greg said, you mean the turd. Did he really? If he really
I
did.
want the audio clip of this if it happens. I don't think it happened.
And Greg used one of my tidbits on accident or on purpose, because Greg's pretty easy to predict about what he's going to say these days, because I think he used the word billion. At least they're $1 billion team. We're playing $1 billion team in England. He said it probably 5 or 6 times. It's
Michael, you've got competition, Michael.
The curd in the background. Death to infidels.
Oh, good Lord.
I don't think that's a Kurdish thing, my friend. I don't think it is. They're not a death to the infidels. I mean, to get specific about the different ethnic groups within Iraq, and yeah, I think the Kurds are probably the least likely to say that kind of thing. All right. Vaseline. Laugh out loud. What the fuck? Well, what do you use? One thing I can say not to use, because I did it as a child, don't use shampoo. Because if you do use shampoo, you must, you got to make sure you get all of it off your wiener, because then it'll turn into this like a glass flaky, and it irritates. It's horrible. I think I was like 13, 14 years old. I'm like, what the fuck did I do?
Prepubescent Derek whacking here, so let's move on.
What did I do to myself? What is this? God is punishing me for jerking off. I knew this was bad. I knew this was wrong.
Is it gonna fall off?
But my parents were gone, and I've got a copy of Behind the Green Door, and I just had to.
This is why our live streams don't go out to the masses, because we talk about this in the first 20 minutes.
What, Behind the Green Door? That's a classic movie, though.
I'm referring to masturbating and shit like that.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Well, I apologize then for that. I can't. There's not much I can do. I mean, it comes up in the conversation. All right. I am Jonathan Rupert. I am a Bayern Munich and, to a lesser extent, a DC United fan. Likes the dark colors, I guess. I have third row ticks for their game on Wednesday. One of the best European teams versus the worst MLS team. Should be fun. How bad do you think it will be? Well, based on some of the other games we watched, if they play anything like Everton did versus Minnesota United, it'll be a wipeout. But it won't be, because Bayern are a little bit more professional than Everton, and their second team is pretty hot shit.
You got a prediction? I've already looked it up.
What was the score? I don't remember, but I think it was like, what, 2-0, 1-0? What was it? 6-2. Well, at least DC United scored.
Got to give him that, I guess.
You know, at least he's the guy that went to the dance, and he's like, well, he didn't do very well. He got the ugliest chick in the fucking room, but at least he scored.
Winners go home and fuck the prom queen. That was a bad impersonation, but it'll work.
Yes, it will.
In my day.
Oh, by the way, I had to go buy all new ketchup, all new mustard, all new mayonnaise, all new butter. Like, I had an empty fucking fridge when I got here.
Sure.
And so I had to go out. And it's the most I've ever spent in years since my kids left in fucking groceries. I think I spent $189. And I'm like, holy fuck. Shit is expensive right now. But you know what pisses me off? I made a hot dog today. And you know those little fucking tabs on top of the ketchup and the mustard? And you screw it off, you got to peel that little thingy. Why don't they make the thing that you grab to peel it off a little bigger than like a minuscule little... Yeah, it's annoying as fuck. So you end up just taking a knife and fucking knifing those fuckers off. But then you got like ketchup on your knife, or you got mustard on your knife. It's so fucking annoying. How can they can fix that instantaneously by just making a tab that's big enough for a grown man to tear off. Not a 2-year-old, not a 3-year-old. Nobody has hands.
I don't know. I think the plastic wrap around it is more than enough. You don't need a second layer of protection at that point.
Probably not. But
Jonathan Rupert said that the entire match was fun. Got a couple of follow-ups on the Vaseline comments earlier. Hector tried toothpaste. It didn't work out well for him.
Why in the fuck would you use toothpaste?
Chris Gary tried Tabasco. How about that one?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. You use obvious things like soap and, stuff that's slippery, right? Tabasco's not really that slippery. I don't know. Is it? I've never rubbed it down my man parts before, but it doesn't seem like it's a good idea.
Like, holy shit, it hurts.
It's fucking hot, Hey, Jose Reyes, thank you so much. Pretty soon we're going to buy some really good equipment. We've been saving up for a while. We're getting close to buying some new equipment. Not that equipment, Brett.
No, I'm looking at the first line of the super chat.
Oh, Derek looking sexier than Pelosi in a bathing suit. Why did that have to come in my feed too today? Why? What is she, 80? I mean,
no.
it's disgusting. Why?
Hey, you know, she might be a grandmother of somebody who listens to us. She might be listening to us right now, Derek. Wouldn't burn that bridge right now.
Dude, I mean, I don't know why the media goes out and takes photos of that. First of all, it's not something anybody wants to see. Two, the people that I can only guess the people that took the photo want to embarrass her, which is I'm fine if that's what you want to do. You want to embarrass her, but you know, three, I'm 50 and I won't go to the local club where I'm a member and swim in the pool, although I haven't had time to yet, without a fucking t-shirt on because it's disgusting. I'm 50. I don't need the kids to be frightened and have to run away. You know,
But that's like the time when you don't give a fuck and you can just sit there and, you know, like bake like a piece of leather, you know.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that because in my younger years, I played a lot of soccer and tennis, and I'm still playing golf now. I'm already baking in the sun. I don't need the what is that? The cancer, right? All right. So Derek looking sexier than Pelosi in a bathing suit. Thank you. That's not much of a compliment, but I'll take it. Brett driving away with a DUI like her husband. What? We're not that kind of couple. If we were, we'd be millionaires, gazillionaires over. Let's watch the World Cup lit like Nancy and flying like her husband. How do we place in the World Cup? We get out of the first, we get out of the group, and then we lose in the first round of the knockout stage. I'm sorry, that's what's going to happen.
Hey, it's a pretty fair assessment.
Yeah.
Our two options getting out of the group, where we got like the Dutch and we got Senegal most likely. Those are the two we're playing most likely.
Yeah,
that's gonna be a rough first game outside the group. I also think we're gonna get out of the group, but being the optimistic one of the group here, I'm gonna say we're gonna get past the first stage and then lose.
we're going to beat Senegal.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's a lot more likely that we beat Senegal than we beat the Dutch. We can beat anybody. But I mean, I think we could beat England. And if we can beat England, then we can beat the Dutch. And if we can beat England, we can beat Senegal. But I mean, doing this over and over again, it's just not going to be easy. Chris Gary, good job avoiding your political opinions with the super chat.
We're experts at it.
God, yeah.
Wax on, wax
off. This show was not meant to be a political show. One day when we're absolutely untouchable, maybe we'll do that. But right now, no. Because it's too divisive right now. Because you're only allowed to have one side or the other side. There's like, anyhow, you get it. There's no fucking common sense going on right now. Adam Wiggins, all these Premier League clubs making moves. Meanwhile, at Leicester, or as they say on Fox, Leicester, crickets. Wonder when exactly this big revamp Rodgers was talking about is supposed to happen. Not a single signing yet. Even if they don't sign like a bunch of new players, I think Leeds will be fine. They'll be fine. They won't be at the top of the table if they don't do absolutely anything and they lose some more people. But in general, I don't know. Leicester, they just know what they're doing there and have. Even before, Rodgers got there, they were a good club. And, of course, who can forget their masterful run? Yeah. And winning the
and the one guy that became a multi-millionaire for betting like $1,000 on them to win.
I know, man. I wish I were him too.
It's one of those things like every year, like, what's $100? Let's gamble because if I win, no. I mean, would you wager $100 on Fulham to win the league this season?
No, but let's be fair.
Think about the odds, man.
Leicester was not as bad as Fulham. In the
Didn't they have like the shittiest odds that season? It was something ridiculous, wasn't it?
Their odds weren't great.
Like 1 to like 30,000 or something ridiculous.
But it's not Leeds level bad, Sorry, having some problems with equipment here.
I wouldn't necessarily expose that during the live stream, Derek. Maybe you need to talk to a doctor.
It's not a body part.
Although we got him done.
It might be in our show. Why don't you read a few while I fix this issue?
See, still plenty of. Let's see, Brett W. I don't know if we got this one or not, but still plenty of time in the transfer window. But what players would you say? Oh, we've already done that one. Sorry, we did Mitch.
Okay, problem fixed.
Nailed it.
All right.
Jose says, can Derek confirm or deny the real reason why you guys have been away? Was it because he had testing? We already talked about him, too.
Yeah, we already did that one, too. I think we've done most of these.
Did that one. Chris Richards' Palace, too, yes. Talk about that one later, I guess. I think that's on the next. I think that's on our current show's topics too.
Hoppy didn't even play in the most recent friendly. After giving bit minutes at the end and getting an assist, he stuck his ass on the bench.
Bastards. We didn't talk about this one yet. Mark Law from the previous show, even. Derek, I wanted to apologize for my stupid comments on last week's show. I still disagree with most of your takes, but we're not supposed to agree on everything. That'll be boring as fuck. Much love, big guy.
What else are we disagreeing on, Markoloff? Christ
it had to do about the whole, like, I've seen his ceiling.
Yeah, no, I remember that one.
You know, that's basically what he's disagreeing on.
I don't remember disagreeing with him before or prior to that.
Oh, no. I don't think so either. I think he disagreed with you, and then he just said he was apologizing for that.
Oh,
so I responded and say, hey, man, no need to apologize. We've always said that if people disagree with us, we'll take time and we'll explain to them why they're wrong.
Yes.
Seriously, though, disagreements are welcomed. Otherwise, we would sound like an echo chamber, and that is boring. Debating is healthy. Others will call it arguing.
Yeah,
so it's okay if people are like, "What do you guys argue so much?" We're like, "We're not arguing."
I mean, it's so weird. I mean, we rarely disagree through a show. We'll have maybe one or two, but it's not like, I mean, the whole show's an argument. So I don't understand it.
I grew up at a time where people bitched at each other, and then immediately we're hanging out doing something else next second. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
You just bitch, and then all of a sudden you're playing a game of attack football or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you
this
don't
is before I was able to drink, so I mean, I had to think of something that's kid friendly, I guess, in that sense.
If you don't like arguments, I wouldn't come over to my parents' house for dinner because that shit's just all one big long argument.
That was fun, by the way.
That's how they do it. You know, my mom is a very stubborn German woman. So,
all right. So Fred Baker's comment is the last one, and Fred, if you're listening, we're not going to read this, man. I'm sorry, but this thing's like 42, posts long. It's a long ass fucking thread for what is actually an okay-ish joke at the end. I liked it. I actually laughed at the end of it. So if anybody wants to read this in full, feel free to click through it on our previous show's thread.
Is this his
he was in Turin, the teacher
philosophy?
Told him,
This is his philosophy.
Yeah, tell us something that happened the previous summer or something like that. It was
what was the thing the Unabomber wrote?
A manifesto?
Yeah, is this Fred's manifesto?
I hope not, because I don't know. That'd be bad otherwise. Doesn't explain much into the inner thinking of Fred.
Were there a bunch of players listed that he's upset we don't talk about?
Oh, no, this has, outside of being in Turin, this has nothing to really do about soccer.
That's really weird. There's another guy that claims he was in Turin and played soccer at the same thing, I think. Wasn't there another person that said
Clearly
they have kind of the similar life story? I don't know. I could be wrong. Anyhow, they grew up in Italy. I think they might have said Turin.
Italia. Real quickly, I guess, before we move on, we're 20 minutes in. Jay Hernandez posted a poll on Twitter and asked, who has been your favorite move so far this transfer window for the U.S. men's national team players?
Pretty sure we answered this one already.
Yeah, he did
a poll.
Yeah. I literally just said that.
Oh, I just block words like poll, cock out of my head. Sorry.
He nearly had 1,000 votes on it, and it was Luca De La Torre.
That's a lot of votes.
I think that's a pretty solid pick there, quite frankly.
Well, I'm glad everybody's really excited about that. However, he did play a game last night, and he only got 13 minutes. So that doesn't bode well because Celta de Vigo was already missing a bunch of players, and they're in the United States.
He just completed the move.
I get it, but you're in the United States. Don't you feature him as a starter and yank him at halftime? Jesus.
Hold on. Chris Gary does say Fred's best ever tweet. Not saying much. And like I said, I was reading through the whole thing before on Monday's show, and I'm like, oh my god, dude, there's more. Holy shit! And he keeps posting. And I get to what I thought was the end. I'm like, okay, I don't get the humor behind this if it's humorous. And then all of a sudden I see the last. I'm like, okay, that was okay. I got a good chuckle out of it.
Yeah.
Brandon Marco says, "Huh? Would have thought it was Aronson." And he got second place in this poll. I think the problem with Aronson's transfer is that everybody knew it was like the worst kept secret ever.
Right.
It's been going on for about a year now.
It doesn't. But even though we knew about it, doesn't make it not the best one, though.
Sure, fair play. I mean, it pulled in 30%, almost like about 300 plus votes. I
mean,
that's not too shabby.
I go 33, 33, 33 on the bottom three. Richards, call me when he's gets
starting
to play.
Everything. Yeah. That's going to come up again. That's coming up in our today's comments section. So,
and we'll see about that one. I don't know. I don't know about that move. I would have rather him stay in Germany and play for another team, but another on loan team. But
if you guys are wanting more Fred Baker comments, we do have one tonight, so stay tuned.
Oh, we do. Okay, yeah. You got something in your back.
Spencer James is on there, and it's a real shit show.
Isn't Spencer James sort of an irascible character as well?
He's somebody.
Okay, he's got attitude.
We got some of the best listeners.
He's got gumption. I remember we've had arguments before. Not like, I don't think arguments. They were disagreements or whatever. But yeah, it's been all right. Oh, by the way, sporting a straight red card tonight again. It's washed. Yes, I washed it. I'm not wearing it again.
He rubbed it on his balls.
Yes. And I have to say, speaking of balls, I've been really sweaty the last 2 days during this move.
Come on now, we don't need to hear this. Jesus Christ, dude.
I'm just saying, moving's hard work, man. There's a lot of moving around, and it was 100 fucking
57.
degrees.
We got 57. Yeah, it was hot. We got 57 people in the. We got 57 people in here. They don't need to be hearing about your balls and the perspiration between them. So
I didn't link them. You only linked them yourself. All right. All right. So 57. I think we have any more questions? Do you want to hop in?
Yeah, we want those 58 people to go down below and hit that like button. Let's get it up.
Let's
beat that algorithm.
Let's get it up. Yeah.
Beat that algorithm off.
We had 69 the other night, but I don't know what's going on with that. Remember that guy who said 69 people viewing?
We were also competing with some people, so it wasn't too shabby.
Well, we're not competing with anyone tonight, as far as I know, so we're just sucking balls.
Well, no, our numbers tend to bump right around the 30-minute mark when people realize that we start talking about the actual subject.
Or it's just like any other show that I go to. Like I go to Best Soccer Show, and they'll go from like 5 to 15 to 30 to 35 to 47, and then that's 58. And that's about as high as they get, 58, which is weird since they've been around forever. So
we've just been spoiled because previous shows before that were all hitting about the hundreds.
Yeah, we had those, but it's a slow time. Let's be really honest. It's a slow time. I mean, it's just this is like preseason. There's a lot of guys doing this and guys doing that. I mean, the most interesting thing are the friendlies. Friendlies are interesting, and then of course, crazy trade season, transfer season. So
silly season is among us.
Yes.
See what happens if there's any late bloomers in there.
Yes. So
all right. So I say let's jump into the topic of hand.
Let's just jump in.
Gregg Berhalter happens to be the new media darling. He's making the rounds across all of USS Soccer. I'm sure we were on the list, but I think we probably got axed at the very end. They had to make a cut somewhere. I'm sure he was going to be jumping on our show at any time.
I was surprised he went on Herc's show because, USSF has treated them pretty poorly. And basically banished them. But it was good to see that he did it. But I think that even though Herc, had this or that to counter whatever Gregg said, or to ask questions that Gregg really wasn't being asked, I still think it was ultra friendly. And I'm cool with that. Because I don't think you need to I don't think Gregg agreed to come on that show and he's like, hey, but please, don't fist fuck me. I mean, he just wanted to be treated friendly.
Let's debate.
Yes. Yeah. Ask your questions and whatever.
I don't know. I think one thing I picked up from this, and I didn't get to watch the Herc interview in whole.
No,
only,
because
only the highlights.
Right.
But I did see Lawless's, and we'll do Colin's Colin Coward's. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Colin Coward.
Coward.
Cowherd.
It's an unfortunate last name.
Cowherd.
Cowherd.
Yes. Colin Cowherd.
Yeah, we'll watch that later. But at least with the Lawless interview, I thought that Berhalter really came out and of his uncomfortableness on most interviews. And we see with Bobby Warsaw, we see him come out in there too, and where he feels comfortable. So I don't know. I thought the two interviews were good as far as seeing a more lighthearted Berhalter.
Yeah.
Again, you may bitch and complain about how his answers were kind of brushing aside and just to get through.
I just don't think we learned a fucking thing from these interviews, and that's. A little of that is on Herc and Lawless and Cowherd. Well, Cowherd, I can't blame. He's no soccer guy. He watches it, but he didn't know what the fuck he's talking about. I just didn't feel like anybody dug deep. Like all the questions were very generic, except for the really blunt ones by Gomez about Brooks. I'm glad we got that answer. But
Lawless asked why does Berhalter hate Brooks? That's pretty hard.
Yeah, but he was kidding.
But then, he laughed afterwards, so it kind of squashed that.
But, all right, well, let's just jump into Lawless then. Let's do Lawless first. Lawless? Yeah. And the first one is at like 440.
Yeah. I got my list of numbers here, so.
And this just annoys me from a questions aspect.
What the? Yeah, well, go ahead. You want to prep it or you want to jump into it?
That's my prep. This annoys me from a questions aspect. Okay. If you finally get to interview Gregg and this is your question.
Ask you, because there's going to be a lot of people that maybe haven't watched in a while. They're going to come into the tent and see this U.S. men's national team. Can this U.S. men's national team win the 2022 World Cup?
Wow. I like
wow. That was a great response right there. First off, wow.
Wow, that's a dumb question.
What is this, 1995? Before, whatever.
Yeah, even if you're Argentina or Brazil or England, your chances of winning the World Cup are small. They're not great. There's lots of good teams out there. So a question like that is just I think it's an American type of question, right?
I have to say, I would have actually gained respect for Berhalter if he was like, no. And that was his answer. It's like, no. I mean, but his answer. Do you want to listen to his answer here?
I could care less because it's
basically, yeah. We're going to move on because we have so many to go over. But his answer is basically, I expect to get out of the group, and then at that point, it's anybody's game. That's about as PC of an answer as you can give.
It's like if you go to a pond in a golf course and you pull out 80 balls from the nasty ass pond, and you're like, and somebody asks you, do you think you'll be able to recover all 80 balls and make them playable again? The answer is maybe. I mean, that's why it's a stupid question. No, there are going to be probably a few balls that are uncleanable and unusable afterwards. So, take it for what you will. I just don't like questions like that. I would never ask, hey, Gregg, can we win? Can we win? Gregg doesn't know anymore.
Do you think we're going to beat Iran? Do you think we're going to beat Wales? I mean, these are answers you're going to get just a PC answer on, because Gregg's not going to go out there and just give some other team that he may face in the future fodder to pump the other team up.
Yeah.
Oh, Wales. Well, they got the population of Connecticut. We're going to smoke them. He's not
going to get out of the group, and we're going to trounce Senegal, and after that, we're going to trounce.
It's not going to happen. Yeah. So seriously,
come on.
No, it's one of those answers, and I'm pretty sure Lawless knew what type of an answer he was going to get, and hopefully, Berhalter was always going to give this answer, because again, if he gives any team a bit of fodder, it's gonna come back to bite him in the ass. It will.
I just wonder if
it's the whole man in the mirror thing from Ochoa,
I thought it would be Michael Jackson. I just thought that really honestly, you had an opportunity to really dig in. And I know Mossy asked some specific questions, so that it's not all generalities, but out of all, and then he did another one on generic ESPN 2. but they were all the same answers for the same questions, and they were all the same questions. So it's annoying to me.
Jonathan's got your back, Derek.
It's a
It's a
dumb
dumb fucking question.
fucking question. It is. It's stupid.
It
And
is.
Lala should know better. I mean, a better question would be, how do we get out of Group B? Which
Yeah.
which he does
He
ask eventually.
does talk about it, yeah.
Yeah, but don't start with this generic shit. All right, then we're going to yeah. This one you picked out, I think.
Yeah, this is basically talking about the players that didn't make the move this window that may be fighting for playing time, and how that affects Berhalter and looking at him. Like if let's say if Stefan didn't make the move, would that affect his way of looking at Stefan type of thing?
Yes,
If
it's
Zach
going-
Steffen had not made that move,
shit.
or if Brendan Aronson had not made that move, would your perception of that player be different? I mean, let's take Brendan Aronson for example. In the next 4 months or so, is he going to be that much different of a player that's going to change your mind about?
All right, first off, before we get to this answer, I think talking about Stefan not making the move would have been a better one to focus on, because Brendan was at least playing at Salzburg consistently and playing Champions League games and everything. He's at least playing. At least with Stefan, you'd be like, hey, Stefan's not really playing for Man City. He's probably not going to have a single game leading into the World Cup. Does that affect your ability to make the call to call him in?
All right.
That would have made more sense.
On an existential level, however, the question is basically, okay, here's A. The A is Aronson's at A and other said players at A. What if they do B and then they do C? B would be they stay at the same club they're at, or C would be a new club. Does that change how you view? Yes, of course it changes. What a stupid question. Because A is not the same thing as B and C. So of course, how it doesn't change maybe your the way you value the player, but it certainly changes how you're going to have to evaluate the player. Again, I'm sorry. To me, these are just questions that are so generic, they're not getting to anything. I mean, I know what he's trying for. Then just say it. Mm-hmm. Say it. Say, okay, Aronson, how do you value him right now? How do you view his move to Leeds? That's much more. That gives Greg times to
Let's not bother with hypotheticals here.
Exactly.
If Aronson didn't make the move, how would that affect your thought process on bringing him into the World Cup?
If you didn't get
necessary.
Greg, if you didn't get rid of that case of crabs last month, how would you view?
Would you still be scratching today?
Would you still be scratching? And how irritable would that make you while watching a Leeds game played by Adams and I mean, it's just dumb.
Overger has it right. Another one that would have loved for them to ask would have been the about the Haji Wright response.
Yeah, I would agree.
I mean, he went his entire tenure without really throwing a player under the bus, just to give him half of a game, just to throw him under the bus.
And apparently, every pundit that has got the luxury of having interviewed so far with Berhalter thinks that Haji Wright fell off a cliff and disappeared because no one said a word about him. And I think
just recently transferred. He can move.
Oh, where'd he go? I've been moving. Sorry.
Insert random top Turkey team here. He moved up in Turkey.
Antalyaspor?
Whatever he was linked to. I'm pretty sure he moved there. Yeah.
Oh shit! Was that Trabanyaspor?
No, whatever starts with the A. You said it first.
Antalyaspor. Okay.
Yes, that sounds.
And I may have said that wrong too, because I'm saying it out of memory and I don't have the name of the team in front of me.
So. I'm not even going to try to gamble on that one, man. I don't know. I'll fuck that one up. Jesus.
I'll throw my hat in the ring. What the hell? I'll have somebody criticize me. Probably Regalia will say, "Hey, you got
James
that
was saying
wrong."
he went to the place he was on loan at. I thought he didn't. I thought he went to the other place. God, these porn bots are persistent motherfuckers, aren't they?
Are they still in German? I noticed the German porn bots are popping up quite a bit.
And they have multiple accounts. And they are everywhere, I swear. They've been listening to our show and they heard us talking about stuff. And they're like, oh, this is the show for us, man. We found our audience.
Lots of jerking off talk. Got to get that in. All right, we want to go.
All right, guys. Anybody in the chat? Chambers, I'm going to hold you to that. If anybody else can tell me if it's a different club, I'll take that into consideration. But
Well,
I
then
thought it
that's
was a
just
top Turkey team. I thought,
just
but
this. It's not top. I mean, that's
I
the
thought
same,
it was. Is what I said.
Antalyaspor is the same club he was
I
on
think I'm
last
bothered
season.
looking it up, but okay. So where we at? We're listening to Greg's answer here. Jeez, man.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, hold on.
Let's see how he
Yeah.
answers this.
This is a good conversation, because
is a good
I do
conversation.
believe that he's playing in the Austrian Bundesliga for a dominant team in the Austrian Bundesliga. He's a young player, so I think we could all agree that there's still this development that needs to take place in his game, right? He's taking a step up now, big step up, and now it's gonna be a real good experience to see how he develops at Leeds and what he can do in the Premier League, because that's the best league in the world. It's not the Austrian Bundesliga anymore. So
I'm sorry, but the bigger question is who would replace him on your roster? Oh, he's still in Austria, man. We're gonna bring Roldan Leggett instead of Aronson.
You never know. It is Greg.
That's true. I'm just saying though that
No.
even if he didn't make the move, does that really affect him coming in the World Cup? I mean, we're looking at like 4
Yeah, because
months?
he's still playing Champions League.
It's not going to happen. No. Yeah, Aronson's actually going to be included. It's a dumb question to bring Aronson. No, sorry, I don't want to say dumb in this situation. It would have been better to talk about Stefan, because at least you can talk about goalkeepers actually playing compared to him sitting the bench if he didn't make this move. So.
Yeah, and we learned in other interviews, including this one, that's not really a big. I mean, Greg's going to keep an eye on Turner and Stefan, and then he'll make a decision.
All right, Brian, they're your porn bots. Click on them, buy them love, because I'm going to delete them in just 3, 2, 1.
Auf Wiedersehen. Are they in German?
Some
Honestly,
people are saying whole city. I didn't think it was whole city. I thought it was transferred.
all right. Now we got to look it up.
All right.
Haji Wright, where'd he fucking go? If it's Antalyaspor, it's the
Wright.
same team he played last year on loan from the Danish team. Sanderjyski, whatever you want to say it, however you want to say it. I don't live there. I don't know how to say it. All right. So we got no answer yet. All right. Listen, Haji Wright hasn't fallen off a cliff for me, but honestly, the last 3 days I've been moving. So.
You know what? This is just dead air for me. So we'll find it out later, guys, and tell you that you guys were right and we were wrong. Or I was wrong. Let me rephrase that. Let's move on here.
All right.
10:35. This one's about judging MLS versus European players.
Okay.
On that point, how do you contextualize what players do in Europe versus MLS, or in top European leagues versus second or third tier European leagues? To what degree is the quality of the domestic league they're playing in factor into your decisions? That's obviously a big topic among U.S. fans when it comes to comparing European players and MLS guys. How much of that is an overall factor? If a guy is crushing it in MLS and another guy is just doing okay in the Premier League, but wait a minute, it's the Premier League versus MLS. How much does that factor into your decision making?
Real quick, Derek, what do you think?
I think it does figure into his decision making, except for, I don't know. Listen, here's the tough part about that. And I almost got hypnotized watching that, because it's the question. The answer should be obvious. Again, I'm just saying, should be obvious. Yes, that plays a difference. If I'm playing in the local beer pub league and somebody else is playing in the Premier League, that should make a difference. I'm not calling MLS a beer pub league.
All right, thank you for the clarification. I do not want
Yes.
those people in our comment section pitching us out.
I'm just saying you do have to notice the difference. Now, where people are saying he doesn't notice the difference is between Brooks and, say, Zimmerman. Obviously,
Pretty fucking close to what God's saying here.
could Zimmerman play for Wolfsburg? No, he probably wouldn't play for Wolfsburg.
10 minutes maybe at most.
But does Wolfsburg play the kind of style that Gregg likes to play? No. So that's hurting. It's weird to blame Brooks for that, but then again, Brooks made mistakes in versus Canada, et cetera, when we played a high line.
Made mistakes, though? That's not a big question, but we won't get into that just yet.
I think he values form over all else. Well, maybe, but I think you have to understand again. So that's the same club he played for last season.
Okay.
They were good. They're fun. So yeah, I'm sure he contextualizes it. Otherwise, we'd have a whole lot of Americans who are doing very well in USL on this U.S. men's national team. So
This guy's got 30 goals in 12 games in the USL. Fuck.
he is rocking it in USL.
Call him up.
Call him up. Yep, that's what Klinsman did.
Let's see what
but,
Berhalter says about that.
We look at strength of leagues, and that's how we base what the players are doing and how they're performing. It is a big difference if a guy's performing in the Premier League at a really high level compared to the Portuguese First League, and we have to take that into consideration. And that's why there's been times where we call guys into camp from the Premier League that may not be getting regular game time because even the quality of their practice is really high. When you're at Man City and you're Zach, for example, the shots you're facing in training are a different caliber than guys in different leagues.
Yes.
I see what he's saying. But there are some outliers. How long did it take Scally to get called up? I mean, he was starting for Gladbach for an entire fucking season. He was called up in November, didn't play a fucking minute. Then he was called up in March and finally played a bit there. No, it wasn't even March. He was called up here in May or whatever the fucking friendlies were before going into Nations League. What about Sargent playing consistently for arguably the worst team in EPL, obviously? But to be fair, he's playing in a significantly higher league than MLS. But then Zardes got called up significantly more than he did.
Yes.
I mean, there are a couple outliers like that just make you question this whole topic. It's like, of course you take into consideration the quality of the league because I mean, if you're playing in EPL, clearly that means you're better than somebody playing in Podunk League here.
Yes.
But that didn't play out.
You have to make that distinction. Let's break it down using another profession. All right. Let's say you are the hottest local amateur male porn star in your state. Like let's say there's an Indiana Amateur Porn Star Association, and they make their videos. All right. Well, you might be the biggest, schlong in the house there. But when you go to California and everyone in the world's included, and you got to be the best of the best, maybe you're not the best. Maybe, if you're doing professional porn, that's going to require a more, I don't know, activity, more thrust. I don't know, but it's obvious to tell there's a difference between the pros and the less than pros or the sort of lesser leagues from the higher leagues. So,
God Kong Snake, is this your first time to our show? No, I know you're not, obviously, but you got to laugh my ass off. You've got what the fuck is with these analogies today?
I don't know.
No wonder the bots like this channel. Derek's inviting them. References like this is why the bots come. And now we are sponsored by X Hamster.
I hope so.
Dude,
I hope so.
That would be full circle if one day we could say like, "Hey, today's show is brought to you by X Hamster."
Yes. I would love to say that. I'm a big fan.
Anybody knows anybody up in that organization? If you want to slide our name into there, that'd be great.
They got the classics. That's why.
Slip it into their DMs.
Snip it. All right, where are we now? We're going.
We are up to. Where do we get the points in this group? Do you think we're going to get a real answer on this one?
Yeah, no, he's not going to say we're going to beat Wales and Iran.
Suck it, bitch.
He's not going to say
Wales first, then England, and then Iran. If you look at it from a strategic perspective, you already said you're kind of taking it as two different challenges and tournaments here.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. That's competitive. I mean, how many times is he going to say there are two tournaments here? There's the knockout stage, and then we get out of that, and the second tournament starts.
Indeed.
I mean, at least Lawless preempted him. Didn't even let him say it, which is nice. I got to reply to my dad, who's calling me. I don't know why.
He's probably watching the show and going, "Guys, cut it out, the porn talk.
Stop talking about porn." Hey, Dad, it was your secretly hidden VHS tape.
Mom,
behind the green door. Behind the green door that I found and watched.
What?
So found it. I found it. A secretly hidden VHS tape in the collection of VHS.
You respond. Tapes. I'm going to hit unpause.
Okay.
So
points out of
what
it.
I've learned is that any preconceived notion that we have of where we're going to get the points is probably not going to turn out like that. I mean, that's just how soccer is,
Fair
right?
play.
So I think we can beat any team and we can lose to any team. So
Not
now,
any
how do we
team.
focus?
We're not going to lose to any team. Come on.
Sure. No, I agree.
I think you need
play
to
100 games. It's possible we might lose to any team, but
no. We're not.
statistics alone would say otherwise.
He meant any team in this group. I hope.
Okay.
Because
Sure.
we're not losing to American Samoa or the
variables.
the Maldive Islands team. No, they're teams you're just not going to lose to. So I don't like that framing, but that's okay as long as he meant the Group B thing. I'm fine with it.
Just one game at a time. How do we have solid game plans? How do we put the right players on the field in each and every game to try to be successful? The opening game, the stats about if you win the first game, the group stage, you have a 65% chance of going to the next round or 70% chance.
Very good chance.
That's a big game. That's a big game for us. And, we know Wales is a solid team, athletic team. They don't give much up at the back. It's going to be a very difficult game. Probably play 5 in the back.
Stick it to them hard.
So, I mean, we're going to be focused on that
Right
game.
to
And
the
then
back.
England is going to be, this small American group against the billion-dollar squad. That's what it's going to be. And we had that battle before, right? Back in the 1700s. And
I love that. I love that little addition in there. It just brings a bit of humor to his interview. I love seeing that side of him. Everything's so stoic, and here's my answer on all the other pre and post game interviews.
Yeah.
I love seeing it when he kind of opens up and jokes around. I think it's the best part of it.
He knows his history. That's
well,
good.
He said 1700s. He didn't actually give you the date.
Well, no, I mean, he could have gotten closer to that, but that generally
That time when we
covers
beat
it.
England in 1245. Am I right?
Well, there was this other thing called the War of 1812.
Yeah.
So if he wants to bring that up too, he could have. So it wasn't just the only time. But I mean, in both counts, we were underdogs in both of those wars versus England. So, all right, that was the history dick coming out of me. But all right, what do we got next?
He continues to talk about basically what he states is that there's what he said at the very beginning. Wherever we expect to get points, we're not going to get the points there.
But play this until he says the ultimate quote, which he's used in every single interview so far.
All right, we'll run through it.
we came
you
up on top. But it's going to be something like that. I mean, could you imagine playing England in the World Cup, right? It's an amazing event. And then Iran's going to be a dangerous team. Also a physical team, well organized, and will be difficult to beat. So, our goal is to finish in the top 2 and keep moving.
All games important, but you mentioned
Is that right there? Is that what you're talking about?
Nope. He says we're playing against we're playing against a $1 billion squad.
That happened earlier, man.
Oh, did it?
That was before the 1700s coming. Yeah.
Okay. That quote's getting annoying. I really don't care because we all know English players are overpaid in the Premier League.
Fair play on that.
Period. End of story. So I don't want to hear about this $1 billion club shit. I don't care. They have weaknesses, which he does mention later. They have weaknesses. So that's good that he realized that. But don't come at me with the $9 billion, the $1 billion club. I'm getting sick of hearing it already. If he would have said it in one interview, I would have been fine, but he's now done it 4 times.
So 1235, I think they asked questions about the 9.
Yep.
Is that accurate?
That is. Yeah.
I mean, you've lived through the era and played through the era and coached through the era of, you go back to Eric Winalda and Brian McBride and Josie Altidore. Why is that number 9 striker position in this moment where there's so much depth and so much talent been so hard to come by?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't.
idea.
That's a great question.
It's nothing that we have done. It's just
From a development standpoint,
Right.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, even when I look at, you just saw the U20s that qualified for the Olympics and won the CONCACAF championship, and they're playing with Paxton Aronson as a number 9.
I'll say, and there's plenty of people that are saying this, maybe we don't play with a 9. And I know they're going to get into this here in a second. Maybe you don't play with a 9, and then you just put in more creative midfielder options like Reyna at a 10/false 9 or whatever. Maybe we don't play with our actual 9s because our 9s aren't necessarily producing.
Or back in our era, especially mine, the big, tall, skilled guy didn't play center back. He played striker. He played center forward. And you lobbed it up to his head, and he headed in
You
for
see
a
we
goal.
put Brooks at a striker?
I'm just saying, McBride was 6'1", and for that day and age in high school.
Yeah, but Hoppy's taller than McBride in that sense. He's what, 6'3"?
No, I get it. It is, but let's admit this. Mammals
He's
are
got to be there too.
mammals are larger now. So 6'1" was big for a soccer player back in the day. It's nothing now. And maybe that's what's wrong. Maybe, a guy back in our day like McBride, maybe a guy like that now is forced to play center back now because he's not that skilled. He's not that fast. I mean, McBride was a slow fuck. He was a sloth. And yet he knew his limitations. He was great with his back to the ball, the goal. And that's what he practiced so daily until he was really great at it. And he was always at the right spot at the right time. Maybe that's what we're not teaching. I don't know either. I don't know the answer, but there does seem to be a generational switch from, bigger guys like McBride and Josie Altidore to Ferreras. But then again,
I think it's all in the style of play at that point.
Pepe's no small little dude,
You can't be lobbing in crosses, especially the U.S. has been trying this, but with Ferreira in there because Ferreira's like 5'2". He's not going to connect.
He's not that short.
He's like comes up to my knees, man.
He's like 5'9".
He's a tiny little guy.
But I guess it depends on what Berhalter wants out of the striker. And again, in some of these interviews, it's like, yeah, we're going to get the ball. You need guys in the box, so we can't play a false nine. Or a no nine whatsoever, and just have three guys. But anyhow, I'll let Mossy explain this better. He does a good.
Yeah, exactly. He's 1352.
1358, I think, is Plan B.
That was actually going to be my next question.
Yeah.
We all seem to think Jesus has the inside track on that center forward spot right now. But as far as a Plan B, would you be open to playing without a center forward? You mentioned Manchester City earlier. It's something they've done the last couple of seasons. Some combination of Pulisic, Timmy Way, Reyna, Aronson, where there isn't a true nine or even a false nine. It's just different guys floating in and out of that position.
Yeah, we always work back from how we're going to score goals. And if we can envision a way that we can score goals consistently without a number 9, we would look at it. But
we could, though. We could. Just think if you put Reyna, and he's going to go into this in a second, but you put Reyna in that spot, pull him back a bit. He's going to be slotting those balls for Pulisic and Weah right through the defense, and it's going to open up opportunities.
So he said we work backwards from scoring goals, which means
Pulisic's going to score a goal. Who's going to pass him the ball?
So he's he's envisioning how we can score goals, but apparently none of that envisioning has included. If we thought we could score goals in that way, we would think about it? He hasn't even thought about it. Go ahead and rewind that. Listen to how he answers this question. He hasn't even thought about this.
Way Reyna, Aronson, where there isn't a true 9 or even a false 9. It's just different guys floating in and out of that position.
Yeah, we always work back from how we're going to score goals.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can envision a way that we can score goals consistently without a number 9.
So he can think of a way, is what he's saying. Because he's going to talk about how...
No, he says if we could envision a way.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. He can't envision it.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's pretty limited thinking, don't you think?
Because he goes on to talking about how, also in the World Cup's right around the corner. This isn't time for us to be gambling on trying new styles and stuff like that.
And that's perfectly an okay answer for that.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to kill our game if we throw Reyna in instead of Ferreira. I mean...
Yeah, Reyna's no small little shit.
I don't understand. I mean, even Aronson to that point plays that role. He's played that role with Salzburg. He played that role with Leeds recently.
And then he says he'll need to see Reyna do it at Dortmund before he'll try it here. And I get it because that's going to be an experiment. And we've already said
that's a bunch of bullshit too because Dortmund's played Reyna at the 8, more or less. And he has yet to play Reyna in the midfield at all.
Oh, I agree.
So
he's a
I'm
hypocrite.
calling bullshit on this.
He's a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Yes. So the position he plays for Dortmund, he's never played for us. Never.
Yeah. No.
So this whole
no, don't get me wrong. The position he plays for us, he played for Dortmund prior to the previous season, not last season when he was injured the entire fucking season, but beforehand, the time when he was just emerging into the Dortmund scene, he played as a winger.
But this whole thing about saying if we could envision, well, try.
Yeah,
you fuckwad. If we could envision, then finish this up. He says,
and we would look at it. But for us, more often than not, we need guys arriving in the penalty box. You need to put pressure on the defense. You need to get balls behind the defense in front of goal. And a lot of times you need a number 9 to finish that off.
this is cyclical thinking.
our nines don't finish it off, though. That's a problem.
If you don't think about it and you don't ever even think about the idea, then I don't understand this.
Unless the team is like 100th FIFA ranking, 100 or beyond, Ferreira doesn't score for us. He may set some plays up. He may open up the defense a bit, but he doesn't score for us. He just mentioned about how we're sometimes those opportunities we need those 9s to finish it, but our 9s don't finish it. I mean, even Pepe's only scored in 2 games out of all of the World Cup qualifiers.
Yes, but basically what he's saying is, if he thought it would do A, then we would think about it. That's fucking cyclical backwards thinking. No,
he's definitely set in his way. And Ober has it here. He's fucking stubborn, and he's set in his way. He wants to have a 9. He can't imagine what it's like not to have a 9 in there.
dude, if Reyna started as a false 9, I'd fucking jerk off 3 times a day. I seriously would. That would be like awesome to me. I just the whole idea that it's already written off for him. Oh, he's either got to be a CAM, which he's never played him as. So that's an experiment too. Isn't that an experiment? He's never played him there. So all he's got to play is jack off winger.
Yeah.
So, and we already know Weah has been our best performer out wide.
That's because he's our only true winger in that sense.
Yeah.
Pulisic wants to check back in. He wants the ball all the time. Weah likes to press out wide, and he likes to take his man on 1v1 and get it into the box or shoot it, for the fuck's sake. He's one of our prolific shooters at this point.
You play a 4-2-3-1, the problem's solved, folks. You play him in the central midfield right behind the striker. Problem solved. And then you have Adams and Musa, backing things up. You can move McKennie to left midfield or right midfield. He's done that with Juventus. No big deal. Anyhow, it's just a thought.
All right, 1905. This is the John Brooks question by Lawless. He lays into Berhalter, just tells him what's what.
Why do you hate John Brooks? You don't hate John Brooks, right? I'm just kidding. Come on. But there are people out there who are saying, well, where is John Brooks in all of this?
Yeah, so
Let's be
the
serious
first
when
thing,
we ask this
to
fucking
tell you
question.
guys,
How about
there
that?
has never been anything personal with John Brooks. I've
Until the tell-all comes out, of course.
visited him a number of times at Wolfsburg, a number of phone conversations, continue to have dialogue. There's never been anything personal. For us, it's been about, what he's doing with us on the field, what he's doing with his club on the field. And that's all. That's the only thing that we're looking at.
So, looking at Brooks last season, when he was not having a great window with the United States back in September, he followed that up with a couple poor months with Wolfsburg. And you're sitting there thinking like, well, Berhalter's got it right here. You can't call him in October, November. You can't do this. He's playing like shit. But then after the winter break, he comes back out and he's like top marks for Wolfsburg the rest of the fucking season. Like literally one of the top rated players.
Yep.
And still it's like, it comes down to form. Berhalter, if Brooks was in form, then we'd call him in. But he is in form, yeah. And it's fine if you want to sit there and say, maybe the whole kerfuffle isn't legit. Maybe they didn't have some beef going on there. Maybe it is generally just down to the fact that he wants to play a high press. He doesn't think Brooks can do it. And he should have flat out stated that. Said, hey, I told Brooks this is a style we're playing. I want to see him try to improve. Unfortunately, Wolfsburg doesn't play that position, so he kind of is fucked at that point.
And there's nothing Brooks can do about the fact that Wolfsburg doesn't play that.
Exactly. Yeah. What is he supposed to do? Like, you need to work on this. Well, that's not how we play, coach.
Put his manager in a headlock and say, I need to make the U.S. men's national team, so you motherfucker better start playing high press here in Wolfsburg, or I'm out of here.
Seriously, it's the worst. Yeah,
That's so ridiculous.
maybe that's why he didn't get re-signed.
Again,
Maybe
this
it wasn't
is a lot
about
of
money. Maybe Wolfsburg's like, now we're not playing a high press. He's like, well, then I gotta go, man. I gotta find a high press.
this is a lot of circular thinking here, and then Lawless doesn't even press him on those two comments. Like, well, okay, and get into it why it is, and he's laughing it off at the beginning, already making it a joke question
absolutely.
when it's not a joke question.
Seriously.
It's a serious question.
Let's be serious about this, and I think Herc takes it a little more seriously later on. We'll cover that one.
I am having trouble hearing Lawless with Gregg's dick and load in his mouth. Oops, I'm getting too rowdy.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean that's basically what he says about him. So let's see, 2047.
We move.
And we talked about the number 9. Would, Gio Reyna, wonderful player, young player, inexperienced player, and obviously a player that has not shown a consistency to stay healthy. And if he is healthy and if he is there, what position do you see him playing in your 11?
I think he could be a winger that plays between the lines, so not a vertical winger, or he can play one of the attacking midfield positions.
But you wouldn't play him up in the striker position as a false position.
We haven't done that, and I don't think it's necessarily time in the World Cup to be experimenting with a very young player in a new position.
Even if not a young player, Colin Reese always brings up Leggett as an option as more of a 10 than an 8 because Berhalter's formation doesn't work to Leggett's strengths. Basically meaning that, you slot the balls, but he can't run back and forth.
That's fine, yeah.
But basically he's sitting there telling you, like, we're playing with the 9 guys. We're going to bring in 9s. We're going to play a 9. Don't expect a false 9. It's not going to happen.
But doesn't Jesus Ferreira kind of play a false 9?
More or less.
And couldn't Reyna do that job a lot better than Jesus Ferreira?
Good. I'd feel more confident.
Just asking for a friend.
Is
all right.
Friend named Derek.
Yes, it is.
Okay, weird.
And his last name.
I don't have another friend named Brett. That's a little strange.
Yeah, his last name's Dick. All right.
DD. Double D.
But you never know. Maybe Dortmund plays him there. I don't think they're going to, but maybe we can get some footage by what he's doing with his club. But my guess
or you
is,
can envision it.
He'll play either as an attacking midfielder with Dortmund or as an internal winger.
But that means, and there's
yeah, a lot of lack of envisioning there. And I get it. You don't want to experiment, but you could have experimented while he still could play, although he has been injured for a lot. Sure. And I get it. But is there no denial how good Reyna is?
One only has to go back to the Mexico game and watch him dribble like 6 or 7 players before finally getting stuck. Just imagine if he was in the middle of the field receiving the balls, being able to turn and looking to distribute or even take his player on. That'd be much better than having him out wide. And if you play out wide to him, that'd be one thing. But
don't tell me, Greg, that we can't play vertically with Reyna too. He's no slow-mo. I mean, pretty much when he was burning the whole Mexican team, guess direction he was going? Vertical. So
you read God Kong's comment, huh?
Yep.
No verticality.
Not enough verticality.
All right, so Lawless jumps right into that after the Reyna question, jumps right into all of our winger option. My guess is probably to try to indicate maybe we could pull Reyna into the middle because we have all this depth out wide.
Seems pretty crowded out wide.
Yeah.
This is a good problem to have that somebody has to come out. So if you play in Christian's position, Christian has to come. If you play in Wade's position, somebody's going to come out.
But that's great.
Good decisions.
No, it's great. I mean, think about the options you have. We didn't even mention Jordan Morris, Brendan Aronson, Paul Areola, Christian Pulisic, Tim Weah, Malik Tillman, Gio Reyna. I mean, that's options. That's pretty good.
Some of them are.
All right, Limo, give me a socket wrench.
All right. This show brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Liberty. For what you need. And a blowtorch.
The Gecko works so much for Geico. Let's bring in a Lima.
Instead of handing this is still
brought
going.
to you by Google Fi, guys. Brought to you by Google Fi.
Instead of handing me a teddy bear at the end, it would have been funnier if it was a dildo. Honestly, it really would have been.
There you go.
All right,
that's great. That's a great line right here.
One of those wingers he listed are not like the others. Yeah, I'd say a couple of them aren't. And at least he didn't say roll
You're
on.
right. It was an emu. I'm not sure why I said lemur. I'm way the fuck off. Those are two distinctly different animals. Yeah.
Well,
sucks.
if you drop the L and the R on lemur, that is an emu.
There you go. Look at that. That's what I meant to say. God, Kong. For being a dick. No, like I said, two completely different animals, and I completely fucked it up there. All right,
Yeah,
let's finish
that's
this
okay.
answer out.
Yes.
Mentioned center forward. Another
Oh, shit. No, that was the answer to that. Holy hell.
Yeah.
But we do jump right into this. This is the backup left back question here.
Left back question.
problem
Yes.
spot is that backup left back position. You even talked about that.
Watch how
a
Greg
little bit.
dismisses
For sure.
two
So
players here.
How concerned are you about that in the next few months? Are you really hoping that somebody emerges and really grabs that?
Well, ideally, it'd be nice to see, guys like George Bello really kick on and play every week in the second Bundesliga. It'd be nice to see Sam Vines, break into his team and have a consistent starting.
Consistent
Sam
one thing. I
Vines
mean, he's
has
played quite a bit for
The
Antwerp.
fuck is he talking about? Sam Vines, when healthy, plays for his team.
Roll. But if they don't, it's not. I think we could look at something like playing one of the right footers on the left side. It's it's done all the time, and we'd look to do something like that.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's put Yedlin at left back.
In fairness to Berhalter here, if Vines or Bello don't pan out at left back option, we could play Dest at right back.
Vines
could play Scally at right back.
Who's saying Vines isn't playing out?
He's saying that.
I know it's
is
not.
Is he watching the league?
I don't know. I'm
If
starting to
we
wonder.
had video evidence of Vines playing that position, we might call him in.
I mean, if Anthony Robinson blows a tire, you're gonna need a real left back. So yeah, I know what you mean, Chris. We're almost done with it.
All right, let's see here. What we had
everybody's stroking fucking Berhalter's cock so hard in all these interviews. It's just disgusting.
No. This question.
Yeah, play for about 5 seconds of this.
Is that $7,000?
What do you do after you wear a $7,000 pair of shoes?
I don't.
Okay, let's stop.
I shove it up my ass. That's what I do with it.
Yeah, exactly. This is disgusting. Can we stop talking about his shoes?
It is the talking point. They're like, oh, I wonder what shoes he's wearing.
You want to know who to leave the shoes to? The dude that makes the videos about the shoes.
Watke?
That's Watke.
No, he doesn't. He does. I don't know if he does do the shoes from time to time, doesn't he?
And the back passes, because they do
Which
the back pass thing here too. Leave the jokes to the people who make the jokes. Because Lawless, this ain't funny, dude. You're wasting really important time talking about jack off crap. Let people who are not professionals, who are actually funny, do that. Let them do that. When you get a guy like Greg in your office or in your whatever on your show, let's get down to some real business. The brass taxes. I want to know some real shit.
We're split here. Casanova says, I don't give a fuck about his shoes.
I don't either.
Ralphon says, the shoe game is strong.
It's strong, but that's not what he's paid for. He can, like Brett said, he could stick those up his ass for all I care.
They talked about it earlier, but the USSF apparently hires a permanent barber for the U.S. men's national team. And apparently it takes like an hour to get Berhalter to this style.
That guy should be fired. That's all I got to say. And I don't really think anybody on the team needs a professional barber on the fucking staff. That's just ridiculous. Like, dudes can't go get a haircut on their own? I mean, like, if I by the way, I have a new job. I'm not going to say what is on here because I don't need creeps following me around. But if they had like a professional hair cutter on staff for my new place of work, I'd be like, that seems like a fucking waste of money.
No, I mean, I would do it because that would save me shy of $20 every couple months.
Well, then they might as well have one for your whole.
In fairness,
your whole school system.
I shouldn't have to pay to get my hair done anyways. It's not like I have an abundance of hair, and at this point, I might as well just get some trimmers and go.
Nor does Greg, but he's talking about they do the fade, they blend it in for what he's got. That's not. I don't know.
All right, 23-35. I have no idea what this one's about because this is yours.
25-25.
No, 23-35.
Oh, okay, yeah. I know what it's about.
Oh, glad you do.
Critical.
changed personally because there's slings and arrows and barbs that are out
Yes, I
there.
gotcha.
Do you hear it? Do you feel it? Sometimes it's the family that takes the brunt
It
the
hurts
brunt of it. And
so
how have you changed in
bad.
terms
No,
of?
I realize it's part of the job.
Family?
Social
and I think
media
that's
hurts my
I think at
feelings.
first in 2019 I took it personally. I'm like, oh my gosh, why are people saying this?
It had to have
and
happened
then
before
now
then.
it's something where I understand
I'm
the
sure some
responsibility of
crew
this
fans
job.
were
I
bitching
understand the
about 'em.
spotlight that this job comes with. I also understand that Americans want to see winners, and we're focused on winning every single game we play and competing in every single game we play.
Okay, hold on.
As we-
He said, I understand Americans want to see winners. Well, then the criticism that he is getting, for the most part, are from actual American soccer people who know the sport and have been around and following it for a long time. That's the criticism he's not talking about here. He said Americans like winners. That's so he's saying every Dick, Tom, Dick, and Harry in the fucking United States wants to win, and that's all they.
I want the Americans in the Olympics to win a bunch of gold
All
medals.
those casual fans don't give a crap about. They're not the ones criticizing. They don't show up until the World Cup starts. All right, so don't fucking give me this every Tom, Dick, and Harry story when you know exactly who it is that's criticizing you, and they are not Tom, Dick, and Harry. They're people that know their shit. So don't generalize us. Okay, that's all I gotta say.
My wife just sent me a text. She goes, "Who the fuck are you saying shove it up my ass to or about?" I think there's a typo there too, because I don't think I've ever mentioned about shoving anything up her ass. But
You should say, Derek, our relationship has taken a turn.
All right. Do we need to hear any more about how he has his hurt feelings? Now he's got thick skin.
I think he said now he's got thick skin and it's okay. And then the last
25. Now we got two more. Got 25.
Yes, and that's again, leave this to the pros like vodka, who know, or vodka.
This point, where did this all start? By the way, I think we have a ball here. So
talking about the bounce passes,
we want to make sure that we understand this and we break this down.
Yeah,
obviously,
let's break it down.
So
although I like this part
where did the
Greg,
whole
though.
thing
I thought
of
from here
the
on,
behind the back
this
pass
part of
and the what do you call it, the Berhalter bounce?
Yeah,
where did that
balls?
So I'm going to show you something.
Softballs.
Now,
Yeah.
you want to take a throw in,
Right.
You want to take a throw in, right? Okay, you're going to take the throw.
I'm going to take the
So I throw it like that.
Okay.
Now what do you have to do? Okay. Now I do it like this.
It looked
Now,
like
what's
he picked
easier
it up
to get the
exact
throw
same
in
fucking
quicker?
spot,
Got
man.
it. Okay. So you're using the bounce to
Exactly.
inertia to come back.
Gives
It's all almost
exactly
one
instead of
motion.
them
He
having
put
to go
behind
like
those
that.
balls, man.
Exactly.
Right.
But seriously, how much force is he putting behind that ball that it's going to carry his arm back?
I
for
will
it?
say the angle probably does help a little.
Him standing up compared to sitting down and collecting it.
Instead of taking it at the chest, but having it coming up so you can just whip it back. But a lot of the guys, when you watch the games, they when they get the bounce pass, they still have to look because he gets it to them so fast. They can't just whip it down the line or something.
It was the same ass motion with Lawless. It was like, here, catch it. He caught it right here, and then he went back, and he bounced him. He caught it right here, and then he went back. It was the same motion. I'm like, hey, you're on the field, you're moving forward. It comes, it's one motion, I guess, but just
I get it.
200 pounds of torque.
Again, you have a guy like Gregg Berhalter on your show, and you have not. I think Mossy did a good job. I think when he got to ask the questions, his were really specific and focused. But this jocularity part, and
it
it
almost seemed
happened.
like Lawless was the lightheartedness of the interview. It seemed like he was like asking like the softball questions, the fun stuff. Like, hey, it was a bounce pass. Hey, nice shoes there you got there. You got a barber and a team. What?
But frighteningly, even Herc and Seb got there too with the jocularity shit. I get it. We all want to rub the guy's balls. He qualified for the World Cup. We want to talk about his balls, his bouncing balls,
on
all kinds of things. But
I'll say that Lawless. You go ahead, sorry, finish.
I was going to say, but it's not necessary to be this. I mean, listen, you can treat the guy nicely. You can have a funny moment here and there. But it's after a show after show where we talk about your balls, your bouncing balls, and your shoes. It's like, okay, I can stand that for one interview, but do we have to do it for 4 of them? Really? We got to talk about your balls, your bouncing balls, and your fucking shoes in all 4 interviews, it's too much. I can't deal with it.
Do you think the networks have reached out to whether it's Herc and Seb or Fossey or Lawless and said, "Hey, guys, need to ask some lightheartedness. Let's keep it a little jovial there. And you got some serious questions." Do you think the networks actually pushed for some topics? Not topics, but just like the tone, I guess.
I'm sure they said, "Listen, if we do this, let's keep it light. Let's not get too serious." And I definitely want to talk about my bouncing balls, and I definitely want to talk about my sneakers.
Yeah.
So if you could fit those in, please, because there's no way Vodky is this big of a fucking rock star.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. I know at least Seven Herc have obviously watched and commented on some of his videos. I'm assuming it's worked its way over to Lawless as well. I mean, nobody else talks about it. I mean, the media talks about it because I think Vodky talks about it.
Maybe to give them a pass, I would say this. To give Lawless a pass, to give Seb and Herc a pass. Maybe they're thinking, okay, we're mainstream. This is going to be on ESPN FC. This is going to be on Fox. So let's present Gregg in a way that only the most intimate fans really know and understand. Because really, intimate U.S. men's national team fans already watch Vodky, so they're already in on the joke.
Yeah.
But maybe they're introducing these jokes to the general public, and maybe that's where they're doing it.
The general public that doesn't frequent most of their life on YouTube and follow all that shit?
And that doesn't generally show up until the World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that might be the reasoning. And if that's the reasoning, I'm less critical and I understand. I get it. But it's for us who've been already Vodki'd. We watched a lot of vodka stuff and we already know the inside jokes. It's a little stale after a while. You're like, okay, I've heard all this shit and I'm not learning a thing about what we're going to do in the World Cup. I'm not learning a fucking thing. And that's the problem with this stuff. I'm not learning it. And so maybe Bobby Warshaw's better because at least Bobby Warshaw gets his nails out. And
he pushes. He pushes.
Yes.
Maybe because both of them feel comfortable with each other. I don't know.
I don't know either, but he's still the best interviewer of Gregg Berhalter yet today.
This last segment of this interview, I only added because I enjoyed the lightheartedness on Berhalter's side and the movie reference. Props.
Perhaps.
You are.
Yes.
Speaking of getting in play,
Wilson Ball. What is this?
I don't know. This is
from Castaway.
I like that. Keep playing that because he says.
We found his ball.
Wait, ask Tom Hanks. Let's give Tom Hanks his ball back.
I know we got to let you go here, but
it works well, of course.
That's the Berhalter I like to see. Look at that smile.
Yep.
He's having fun. That's what I like to see.
It's nice to see him happy. Of course, Wilson in the movie was a volleyball, so that kind of ruins it.
Yeah, close enough.
All
the
right.
ball probably could have been used. That was a pretty shitty ball. I mean, it's stereotypical quote unquote soccer ball, if you will.
Yeah.
Which is the only reason why I'm sure they have that as a prop. But nobody in their right mind would ever play with that ball.
Wilson is not a soccer ball making. They don't make good stuff.
It's one of the balls you can get from Walmart.
Yes.
They carry the highest end soccer equipment.
They were very good at making footballs at one point. I don't know where they and tennis balls. They made very
tennis
good
balls.
tennis
That
balls.
was what I knew most about.
Yeah, they made it with just the right amount of fuzz on the balls, just the right amount.
All right. Well, that was the end of the Lawless interview. I know it was long, guys. We had a lot of shit there. But
Okay, this will be short. On the ESPN FC, Berhalter on Pulisic video.
Oh, you want to bounce Pulisic first? Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and this is just going to last 5 seconds, and this is what I'm talking
Where do you want
about.
to start at?
2 minutes. 2
2
minutes.
minute marker? Okay.
Yeah. You're going to hear a familiar phrase here.
Important match. I'm sure a lot of fans have that circled in their calendar. How will you go about that match? Is there
England.
a game plan, or are there players you've already
I
kind
see
of
the
notched
logo.
like you need to concentrate on?
The badge.
You know, we've been studying their games already. We watched 4 or 5 of their games, and
4 or 5.
they're vulnerable.
They're
4 or
vulnerable.
5.
4 or 5. At least you
We
should have
watched when they played Angola and Luxembourg.
Think of
I
this.
feel like we can compete with them.
I think you should have like at least 10 to 15 under your. At this point, you should have watched at least 10 or 15 games.
It's been at least 2 months since the last game. I mean, even if you had
Jesus.
one game a week and you really wanted to do a deep analysis on it, man.
We've watched 4 or 5
Come
of
the
their
fuck
games
on. Come
in
the
the
fuck
last. We have, and that was in the last month. We haven't watched them before then.
One of those games was the 2014 England or 2010 England USA game. So
He should have just said a handful.
same
That would have been
team,
better
right?
than 4 or 5.
yeah, at least then you can think about like, wow, what's a handful? Is that 5 really? Is he really talking about 5? 4 or 5,
in
please.
some ways, but they're $1 billion squad.
There we go.
You
Billion
add up
dollar
the quality in their team. It's over.
They make a lot of money. This guy
so we know
especially.
it's going to be a difficult game.
Every
And for us,
interview.
it's finding their weaknesses.
$1 billion squad.
Because we have,
He makes.
we're a difficult team to play against.
He
And if we can
makes.
take advantage of some of the things they don't do well, we'll have a chance in that game.
This reminds me of the $6 million
Get paid less.
the $6 million man. Remember that show when you were a kid? And he, of course, we can rebuild him. We can make him stronger.
We have the technology.
But we only have $6 million, so he can only fix one of his legs. Because that's what that would be now. Yeah.
He can jump really high, but he can't grab you.
The Bionic Man. That's what that was called. 6 million would do dick today. It might fix a few
You
digits.
gotta
on
count.
his
You gotta
leg.
account for inflation. What was 6 million back in the 70s? Seriously.
Yeah. Today it'd be featuring the $6 billion man.
Was it
All right.
was it 6 billion handled by a private organization or was it handled by the government? I don't know. Because if it's 6 billion handled by the government, I don't know if I trust it.
Yeah, he might only get like his testicles and maybe an ankle fixed.
There's nothing wrong with my nuts, man.
And why fix this dude? I don't get it. Like, he's so awesome that he blows up all his
Wait.
body parts except for his head are good to go.
Is-
So they just make him a whole new person. It's like, no, just let him die. We'll build.
Was there a timestamp for a Berhalter on Pulisic comment there?
Yeah, no, there's another one coming up with at the 5-minute mark, Ted Lasso.
I found that funny.
$6 million is a ride to the ER. You aren't kidding, Casanova. It certainly is.
Yeah.
My brother can attest to that. I drove my ass to the hospital when I got sick, and then passed out in the lobby.
I do. Anxiously awaiting, Jesse in his second season, but then Brendan, how he's going to adapt to the Premier League from the Austrian Bundesliga is not an easy adaptation. And then Tyler going from the Bundesliga to the Premier League, excited to see what he can do.
Let me play devil's advocate for a second.
You're not going to play devil's
Yeah,
advocate.
you
Come on.
the devil himself. Huh? What if it doesn't go well for Leeds? Does the narrative of Ted Lasso, the Americans, he leaned on the Americans, Brendan Aronson, Tyler Adams, does that worry you a bit?
You've been a manager in Europe. You've been the American
what it's
manager in
like.
Europe. Yeah.
Well, what I'd say is that it's just a narrative. It's not real. When
you.
a Spanish coach fails, does it mean that we don't go to Spanish coaches anymore? If an Italian coach doesn't do well,
With all due respect, the amount of Spanish coaches around the world are significantly
Italian.
higher than American coaches.
no, absolutely. But what I'm saying is, I don't think you judge.
Don't interrupt me.
One person's body of work. I don't
Right.
think you judge the rest of the field.
Yes, you do.
Yes, he's a great
Yeah,
coach.
no, absolutely.
regardless of
That will absolutely happen.
Yes. I mean, the fact that Jesse Marsh got a job is because of obviously the American influence it leads. And I mean, look how long that Bob Bradley got in the Premier League. I
Yeah.
mean, he got less than 11 Yanks.
Hey, but
Let's
you know
just
what?
say
You
that.
know what? Marsh got the job despite the fact that Bradley was only there for like 3 months.
I get it. I get that. But let's be honest about why he got the job. It's the American connections.
Sure.
So, I mean, and did Bob hurt us? He didn't help us. I'll just say that.
Probably solidified some people's opinions on it.
And Ted Lasso thing is real. There are a lot of people in England. Not everybody thinks that American managers suck and don't know what the difference between soccer and football and rugby are. I'm just saying a lot of people do. They think of Americans and they think, oh, fuck. What the fuck does he know about fucking football? They call it soccer, the fucking morons.
Soccer.
Those people that do exist. And Jesse's gonna have to put up with him. Anyhow, I thought that was funny that's where Gomez took the question. Hercules took the question. I kind of came out of left field for me, but all right, I think we're done. I'm not going to do Colin Cowherd.
Did you want to talk about the Luca De La Torre at all? Past criticisms?
Yeah, let's do that. We're already almost a minute, hour and a half.
Hour 25 right now.
Yeah.
I went to go see Luca De La Torre down in Celta. They're going to play. I believe they may have already played San Jose. I'm not too sure.
Oakland.
Yes, but they were going to play against the San Jose Earthquake.
13 minutes.
One of the things that I thought was good about your tenure, besides the dual nets, because I think that's something we've given you a lot of credit, is your ability to kind of, I want to say turn the other cheek, but be very accepting it. These are kids. These are young professionals. He had a comment when he went on a podcast, Sam's Army podcast, and he kind of divulged maybe a conversation that you and him had about what he needed to do, and you said that he needed to be in better transition. And he told the conductor of the show that that's kind of his strong suit, so he was a little puzzled. Bringing Luca back in and his importance.
It's a fair criticism for Luca De La Torre have.
There's again, it's if a player has an opinion like that, I have to.
And it's correct.
Up to me to be clearly communicating, clearly set expectations,
which you weren't,
and live with stuff like that. I mean, he's a person. If he feels that
he's
way,
a person
to communicate that. For
he's
us,
a person. He's not a cow.
For what we
he's
have.
Not a whale or a walrus.
And the guys need to be able to fill those tasks. And if they can't fill those tasks, it's going to be hard to get into the team.
He had the not only was it the Sam's Army, because that was before he really started getting called into it, but it was after the Honduras game. I think he was answering questions at the the post conference, and he's like, I don't understand why it took so long for me to get in here. This is basically how I've been playing for Hercules the entire fucking season.
Right.
But I mean, I thought that's what he was alluding to, but I forgot about the Sam's Army interview that he did there. It's like, he gave me the X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, that's kind of my strong points. That's what that's what I need to work on. Then I'm fucked.
Yeah,
he didn't say it like that by any means, but
because that's what I'm actually really good at is taking the ball from the defense and transitioning it to the offense, and then if the ball gets turned over, getting back on defense, which he does very well. So I think Greg could have said, occasionally.
Sometimes I get it wrong.
I've gotten it wrong.
Wouldn't that have been very appealing to his critics? Because if he says, "Hey, I fuck up from time to time. It happens. We move on, and I got it right eventually."
We saw Luca for who he was. We may have watched the wrong tape since we only watched 4 or 5 tapes from each player and no more. The 4 or 5 tapes we picked out didn't
he
work
set the
out.
bench in those 4 or 5 games. What are the fucking odds?
Yeah, exactly. Crazy.
Kong says Berhalter does not deserve praise for calling him in. He deserves criticism for not calling him in sooner. And Derek and I were on board 100% with that because we've been saying he needs to be called in, like at the beginning, from the get-go. We were bitching from the Nations League that he wasn't included there.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden he's not included up until like November, January window, whatever window it was.
Yeah.
But it's just like once he was called in, it's like it's about time. Was it the February one with the Honduras game? Was that the first time he was called in?
I believe so. Yeah.
In the qualifier. Yeah.
Right.
We're every month we're going. Why isn't Luca De La Torre brought in? He's better than X, Y, and Z. He doesn't have to start, but bring him in, start integrating him. Because again, as we found out with Eric, that it takes like 2 or 3 windows for you to really get a hold of Berhalter's game.
Right. I mean, there's just one player right now, one that I hope we were right about De La Torre. We got what we wanted. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that happens with Hoppy. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
And I hope it doesn't fizzle out because I've been hyping him up for so long.
I know. I'll take Hoppy or Sargent at this point. Mm-hmm. And I know they're both players that are not doing what a lot of us hope they would do. But I still think they're really, really good players. And I think they're going to find their way. Maybe it's just too early for both of them. It shouldn't be too early, but it is. And that happens sometimes. So
All right, so a number of people have been stating that he was called in October. But was that the same window that Hoppy was even called into, and they didn't play like in Panama? Both of them sat the bench and didn't play, or maybe Luca De La Torre played a little bit. I don't know. I think that was a Panama window where we sucked balls in that game.
I don't know.
We're sitting there going like there were 3 players on that bench that could have made a difference, and they were not played at all.
Yeah,
I think that was it.
Could have been. I'm too stoned to remember.
Pretty much. Do you have a time frame on the timestamp on the John Brooks question?
And which show?
For Seb and Herc.
No, I don't.
All right.
I think I may be the first person to actually bring this up, but John Brooks.
Bam!
John Brooks.
They're all starting with a joke.
Every time there's a roster drop,
it's all
John
smile
Brooks
and
is
giggle.
on it, and you're getting asked, where's John Brooks? He happens to be one of the most experienced players in the pool. I believe him and DeAndre Yedlin, the only 2 that actually played in a World Cup in this current pool. You said at first that you wanted to see certain things from John Brooks for him to come back to the national team. And then you don't call him up because you said, I know what he's about. I want to see other guys. So where are we with John Brooks? You can understand maybe the frustration.
Herc could have added another iteration because he's been lying to us for 3 windows. So
yeah, I'm sure. Again, to keep up, because I mean, I know Herc and I know even Conrad have talked about how they've lost some press privileges. So maybe this is a way of asking the question he wants to without saying, "Bro, you've lied to us X, Y, and Z." Blah blah blah. Because he gets the question out in the end, like why aren't we seeing him? Why didn't we see him here? Whatever. But my big thing was like, if since September you've been telling Brooks that you need to work on X, Y, and Z, and we have a 4-game window in May, and you're like, well, we already know what we give with Brooks. Well, you're not really giving him an opportunity to prove that he's improved from what you've asked on.
Mm-hmm.
Again, at Wolfsburg, you're basically saying that his club time at Wolfsburg prevented him from ever being called back in.
It's meaningless because they don't play a high line.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, I mean, how is he going to show it to you if you don't call him back in May?
Yep.
So that's what I would at the end of this. And I don't know if they do, but I would push back on that because that's what I would say. I'd be like, well, how are you gonna gauge if he's improved on this if you don't see him? Because apparently Wolfsburg doesn't play the style that you play, and that's hurting him. So why wouldn't you have given him a call and said, "Hey, let's see what happens"?
Yeah, and so the only way you're going to see if he's improved is if you bring him into camp and let him play your high line in camp. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, again, a lot of circular thinking from Berhalter. And when I say circular thinking, it's one means justifying the next, justifying the next, justifying the next. And what you really ended up getting is no answer at all. Except this time we do get an answer from Berhalter, and he tells us specifically about the high line. But we had already told you that. Sam had told you that, and we had told you that. A lot of other people ignored all of that. We told you he can't play Berhalter's high line. We said it. He can't play the high press and the high line. We said it. And
so it's easy for us to say. Why wasn't it easy for him to say?
I know. And we also said other things he shouldn't say because that's probably more personal, which is if Brooks gets called up to a 26 or 23-man roster and he's not a starter, he's a very angry, upset person. He's not happy to not play. I mean, just look at his history. He's had that throughout all the clubs he's played for. When he doesn't start, he's a grouchy motherfucker. And you don't want one of those guys in your locker room when you know you're starting Zimmerman and Richards, or you're starting Zimmerman and Long, and a guy like Brooks is going to be fucking fuming on the sideline.
Yeah.
So,
AR says, did Herc and Seb lose privileges recently? Herc talked about it on with Filippo, I think. Where
yes, they regained their
privileges. And Pete was there too.
Yeah.
But he talked about how when ESPN would always host a match or a qualifier or whatever, they would always have somebody on talking with Berhalter about the game or whatever, but it was not a non-soccer pundit. And you have 2 people here that could, or maybe it was always Twellman or maybe whatever, but basically he's like, there are people in USSF that basically said that, you're not going to be able to interview these people. You know.
Well, what was interesting about with both Lawless and Herc is not so much Lawless. I'll cancel that. But Herc and Seb, their show, they weren't even allowed up until Pulisic's recent interview to interview for their show American players. They had to have that other turd number 2 come out and do it for them because essentially they said no. Herc and Seb are not allowed to interview these players.
Yeah.
But now we had Herc interviewing Pulisic. So it's like at some point, and I hope it was Greg who said this in the meeting with all the FIFA goons. Hey, I have no problem talking to these guys. Let me do it. I will go on these shows, and yes, we can set some parameters so they can't totally bend me over and fuck me up the ass. But I'll want to go on those shows and I want to talk to them. In fact, sign me up for Tactical Manager. Sign me up for 11 Yanks. I'll do those shows too. I think he should.
Yeah.
Not us. We're too small. But those other guys?
I think we're too vulgar.
We're too vulgar and our cocks are too big. So that's a big issue.
And Joey has it here. He goes, I would have thought Greg would be the last guy to accept an invite to Football Americas. And to your point, Derek, there had to have been some flip here.
Yes.
Whether or not it was Berhalter or somebody else just in USSF. I feel like if you're going to go out and you're going to do a run of media presses and stuff like that, that it'd be best to do it with people that know the game the best.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could go on the big shows, but quite frankly, the people who are going to watch the big shows, like I don't even know if PTI is still on there or not, or anything like that. The people who are watching those shows aren't necessarily soccer fans. The people who are going to be watching these shows would be.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think if Herc was a huge step, I think he knew going with Lawless, he'd get like 1 or 2 questions. And then those were just laughers. Like, so why do you hate Brooks? It's so funny. Why do people think you hate Brooks? Nobody ever said he hated Brooks. People said there was a conflict between them.
Kerfuffle.
And that was accurate. No one ever said he hated him. Well, if people did say that he hated him, hate is a very strong word. Okay? That's just, it's ridiculous. You can hate a lot of things, I guess, when you're talking about food, but people, it takes a lot to hate a person. You got to discard all, let's say you disagree with them politically. Are they still a good person? So you can hate them just because your politics don't line up? Don't do that.
Yeah.
They're people. They're people and they should be respected. If you disagree with them, that's fine. People disagree with us on our show about soccer. They're not bad people because they disagree with us. Rogelio. Jose Lopez, you sure LDLT doesn't know Spanish?
It's come out. Yeah, he doesn't, from what everybody's saying.
Yeah. Well, he's been in England a long time, and I don't know about his parents' situation. Listen, I spent a larger part of my life in Germany, and my German sucks. It's not very good. So I'm sure he knows rudimentary sentences and words, but as far as being a fluent speaker, I wouldn't call myself a fluent German speaker. I would call myself a struggling German speaker.
I mean, I
trying to get fluent.
I mean, I can in Spanish, I can say stuff like, where's the library? I've got a cat in my pants. Do you have any chewing gum? Throw it in the trash. I can say all that shit.
Really?
I certainly couldn't speak it very well. I mean, I could speak those stupid phrases well enough, but as far as proficiently speaking, no.
I mean, I could put together a sentence about having a cat in my pants in German, and it involved the word Katzen and Husen, but I don't know.
That's a weird sound.
Ich haben Katzen.
All right, we're at 140. We haven't even touched our questions yet. Let's see what Brooks has to say. Let's see what Berhalter says about Brooks, and then we'll be on to our questions.
Maybe an inconsistency or two in your comments.
You know, the way I see it and the way we've been communicating, you know, me and John have had a number of conversations along the way. You know, he was in the September camp, had to withdraw from the October camp because of injury.
Back hurts.
Bullshit.
November
Because
camp,
we're
I said,
mad
"John,
at each
listen,
other."
You know, here are some things that are lacking
I don't
in
know
the
if that's
game that
true.
I don't see fit our
Assuming.
game model that we need to address. And
This is honesty.
and we move on. And we went to January and we got through that window. We entered the crucial window in
Played phenomenal.
in
What about
March,
February?
and
Wasn't there-
it
there's a
wasn't time
February
to
one,
bring him
wasn't
back,
there?
in my opinion.
January and February, he was
Now
playing
we go into these games
phenomenally.
in the summer where we wanted to take a look at a guy like Cam Carter-Vickers. We wanted to take a look at a guy like Eric Palmer-Brown because John has the body of work that we've seen. So to me,
And it's not what we like.
let's see where John ends up. Let's see what club he ends up at. Let's see how his form is throughout the fall, and then we can evaluate it.
I'm sure.
You say you want him to.
I'm sure Brooks was pressing Marsh. Hey, I'm a free transfer. You want me? I want to play for the U.S. men's national team again.
Yeah. I mean, the rumor came up, but
I think I don't know if the rumor came up, but I brought it up saying, why wouldn't Marsh just bring him in? It's a free transfer. You just got to pay the salary.
because
I
they
don't know if
play
the salary's that much, but
because
he
they play
was-
because they
but-
play a mid to high line as well.
okay. Well, yeah, that's why he's not. But I'm saying, okay. So basically, that comment right there indicates
Yes.
that he's never going to find a club that's going to prepare him for Berhalter ball. So
I mean-
he's fucked.
I mean, if you put Zimmerman and Brooks and made him do a 50-yard dash, Zimmerman would beat him. So if you're
I've never seen that. I guess I've never really seen them at pace to tell. I mean, which one would in fact be faster?
I think it'd be close, but I think Zimmerman would beat him by like 3 milliseconds. In the game of soccer, 3 or 4 milliseconds are a long time. I mean, it's a lot of the game is just instant reactions and being able to as well. I do think Zimmerman also gets off the line faster. He's quicker. Whereas Brooks is not as quick, but he's got a grand ass left foot. I mean,
Well, I
Brooks
mean, I would say
is a great passer. He's a great passer.
I don't know. You can make the argument that as long as you pair him up with somebody, a partner
Faster.
that's fast,
Faster, yeah.
that Brooks's positional awareness and the ability to lace those long balls could outweigh the benefits of having a slightly faster slow guy.
Yeah, and so the best thing that could happen to Brooks between now here and the World Cup is Zimmerman breaks a leg, falls off a cliff, get hit by a bus.
There's a question. Does Nashville play a high press? I mean, we're God help us. I mean, Moore's there now, so we're gonna have 2 potential players that might get playing time at the World Cup, playing for a team that might not play a high press.
I don't think Berhalter cares because he's seen Zimmerman play the high press
No,
for
I'm
him.
just making an hyperbole argument here, but it's just it's more of a joke. But that's kind of to the point though that if you look at every single player that's played for Berhalter, it's going to be probably called into the World Cup. How many of those teams actually play a high press?
Yeah.
And I understand the argument that Brooks is slower and he's a center back, and you know, he's the last man in defense. You don't necessarily want a slow guy trying to chase back. But I don't know.
I do like the fact that you said you're making a hyperbole argument.
I've been drinking, Derek. Shut the fuck
Instead
up.
of a hyperbolic one or a, but I do. I mean,
Hyperbole?
many hyperbolics is a hyperbole.
So I have that running gag with my wife. I'm like, anytime there's a plural of something, I add an I to it just to fuck with her on this. Look at that horse eye. Like,
Several hyperbolic comments are hyperbole. Hyperbole. I like that. They're very hyperbolic, but they're also a hyperbole. I'm going to use that word. Ivan Henriquez. That high line excuse is such bullcrap. Roldan says he's the vibe guy, literally nothing to do with soccer tactics, and yet he constantly gets called up. Yes, but he's an immense cocksucker. So you got to keep that in mind. The dude does know how to take one. All right. Now they're just good friends. You know, they're good buddies. Like he understands Gregg's system. as well as Legit does. So take that for what it is.
Just refresh us and we'll run with this.
Jesus, Brett, are we doing a 2-hour show tonight? What are you doing to me? I've been moving for 2 days. I'm exhausted.
Derek,
I'm tired. I
you're
need
sitting
sleep.
in the back. You're sitting in the back seat. Quit being a bitch.
God damn it.
All right, Chris Gary, who gets more goals in EPL this year, Aronson or Pulisic?
Pulisic.
I say Pulisic as well. Pulisic is probably the better and more a natural goal scorer, but BA will play more. I just think Pulisic's likely to have more opportunities to score goals than Aronson will. I think Aronson may set more goals up.
My answer would be who will
maybe.
score. Even if I'm saying who's going to score more against the bottom 8 teams in the league, I'm still going with Pulisic.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he'll play regardless. A Pulisic, that is. Aronson will play a lot too, but keep in mind he's not really playing as a forward. He's playing as a CAM.
Yeah.
So
like I said, he may set more goals up, or may create more chances because that's a high statistic nowadays.
And he's going to be creating a lot of opportunities, hopefully for Bamford and that chicken shit.
Hopefully Bamford puts him away.
And that other chicken shit guy. James. Yeah.
Not to mention Harrison, too. Harrison's up there as with him.
Yeah, at least Harrison's not a chicken shit. James is a total chicken shit. I mean, he chokes left and right whenever he's got an opportunity.
See, Derek, would you rather drink Flint, Michigan tap water or have Yule, Roldan, Leggett, Morris, Zardes, and Ariel start in Qatar?
I'd rather drink Flint, Michigan tap water, even though I don't find that funny because it's really bad. And, I know people downplayed how bad that was, but it's pretty bad. I will drink it.
Is that still a thing, or I thought they got that fixed?
I don't know how much they fixed it yet. I think they fixed it some. But
That might have been it too. Yeah, I thought I read somewhere about that, but okay. There we go. I'm going to change it to goal involvements.
Goal involvements.
Goal chances created. What the fuck new stat they throw out there?
So both of you.
Who do you think is going to have more hockey assists?
So both of us are 19. We're hanging out in a bar, and then we have like 6 other friends, right? And we're at this big bar, and it's a big party. And I'm talking to all these chicks. I'm saying, oh, you know what? You need to talk to my friend, blah, blah, blah. And I ran into another chick. Oh, you need to talk to my friend, blah, blah, blah. And let's say like out of the group of 10 guys, 8 of them get laid. And the 2 of us didn't, even though we connected them with all the other guys. All right.
You've got wingmans for life, though.
It's goal involvement. It's goal involvement. But guess what? You went home sad.
If you score, we score.
I don't know if that's how that works, Chris.
Brett W says apparently if media wanted answers on the Nats, they should have talked to Derek, as I think he said every point Greg made this past week within the last 9 months.
Thank you, Brett Winter. I appreciate that. I feel like that's why I said I didn't learn anything today.
Yeah.
I didn't, even though it looks like this is a different hat. It looks like it's got a little penis head on the top. I don't like it. I'm not going to wear this one next time.
Hold on, let me make sure. Yes, we are still the straight red card. Of course, every allegory goes to sex.
Absolutely, it does. It does.
All right, Jose.
Tax said it best. Greg is great at saying a lot without actually answering the question.
Pew, 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 pew,
well,
pew,
that's
pew,
why
pew.
I'm hoping Greg takes the next step. And he says, you know what? Not only do I want to talk to Herc and Lawless.
These people have been bitching about us. Let's go talk to them,
Lawless is only good when
bridges.
When we don't qualify for the World Cup. Then Lawless is like, oh, what are we, no. That's Swellman. What are we doing?
What are we doing?
But then Lawless is like, this is for all you rich kids on the team. You fucking suck. You better fucking. But now it's Berhalter. We've qualified, and Lawless has become incredibly non-committal on his questions. And so I'd love to see Tact or Pete. And I'm going to say Pete. I think Pete. No, I don't know which one of the two of them would be more rambunctious or ask like the more crispy question. I want to see somebody ask a crispy question. One that's like, oh, that's going to be a hard bite.
Big Greg, what shoes do you wear to bed?
Yeah, no more shoes questions. I really don't. Leave that shit to Vodka. Leave us bounce passes to Vodka. Everybody else, ask him serious. If Greg came on our show, we would probably have some giggles, but it would be more about the Miazga kicking his dog thing than it would be about his fucking shoes.
Everybody in the chat would be expecting that to come up if we talked to Greg.
Oh, and
absolutely would.
It would come up. And I'd say, Greg, there have been a lot of rumors.
It's time to let the water go under the bridge.
And I just want to clear this up for Matt's sake. Did he kick your dog?
How far did he kick your dog? Like over the fence that far?
Wasn't me, coach.
Wasn't me. You don't sound like Matt Damon from Team America. Matt Damon. All right, Sam Cuts. He says,
Farts.
Do you ever see MLS, Liga Mexi? Sorry. And a few other non-European leagues combining with Europe to make a meaningful post-season tournament? So basically, do you see all the leagues making a meaningful post-season tournament? Align the seasons. A point in favor. I hear Barca could use the money. So basically, if the world got together and created a Super Liga.
I think that would be a that would be a World Club.
It'd be a super duper Liga.
Super World Club World Cup. Right? But then he says non-European leagues with Europe. Oh,
yes,
okay.
There you go. Like U.S., Mexico, South America, and Europe get together is what they're saying.
So basically a Club World Cup where the winner, whoever it was, wouldn't be laughed at. Like, okay, that's a wonderful. I'm so glad you won that. As Craig Burley does with Chelsea all the time. Although Craig Burley fails to remember they also just before that won the fucking Champions League. Like, I mean, it's like Craig Burley can't remember that just happened as well with Tuchel. He's constantly joking on Chelsea for winning the Club World Cup. Well, before that, you dumb fucker, they just won the Champions League. And that's what I would say. By the way, if I were having beers with Craig Burley tonight, I would say exactly what I just said right now. And guess what? He would call me a dumb fucker back, and we'd have a back and forth.
Cheers.
No punches would be thrown. We'd order another beer, and we would continue on with the conversation. Because that's the kind of guy Craig Burley is. Mm-hmm. From what I'm guessing. God, I hate this hat. It's got this penis thing going on up here.
A whole Smurfs look there with that.
I know. I feel like my head has a heart on.
Or you're straight from the 90s with the cone heads.
God, I gotta have another hat right there.
All right, while you're looking for that, Adam Wiggins. The Premier League lost a couple of soccer games last night to MLS teams. Charlotte beat Chelsea in penalties, and Minnesota United beat Everton. Like, stomped them into the ground, kicked them in the middle at least twice. Also tell the English that if they want to watch a football game, they can hop over to Dublin in 36 days to watch Northwestern versus Nebraska.
Tell the English they want to watch a football game.
It's weird that college teams are going to England to play their preseason games.
Are they really?
I guess that's what he's saying. It looks like
they're going to go to Ireland. If you're going to go to Dublin, at least have Notre Dame play there.
That'd make a lot more sense, wouldn't it?
It would. The Northwestern?
Yeah.
And Nebraska? The Cornhuskers?
All right, here's the question that they should have asked and just said, hey, we have a problem with our left back. Who will be the left backup?
Apparently, based on Berhalter's comments today, it ain't going to be Vines and it ain't going to be Bello.
Unless Bello is a standout in Bundesliga 2.
Apparently,
and Vines plays more than 60 minutes on average a game for Antwerp.
Apparently, Berhalter does not watch Antwerp.
Clearly not.
And I mean, no one's enthralled with Bello at this point. He's gone nothing but.
You have to be like a big ATL fan.
He's a deflating balloon. That's what he is right now, Bello. He grew up to this point, and since then he's just kind of went.
We got some unique options in the chat here. We got Kevin Paredes, should be left back. He hasn't really played for Wolfsburg at all.
Yeah, it's almost too late for that. But you know what? I'd rather have that as a backup to Jedi than some schmuck that's never played left back in his life, i.e. Yedlin.
Yeah. I mean, Scally's played left back. I think he'd be the obvious left back option if he had more chances than just one fucking game.
Yep.
So Gomez hopes to get game time. Even if Gomez plays for Sociedad, do you think it's a possibility? Or do you think they're pushing to have him in the youth tournaments?
Mm-hmm. He's too young. He's only played for Real Sociedad B. Unless he makes a incredible leap for Sociedad next season, no.
That's who I think is going to back him up. And then we'll see a Yedlin and Moore or Yedlin and Cannon duo at the right back.
How many times have I said how bad of an idea that is?
I've said it too. Yeah, I mean, nothing like having your two starters, and then if one of them needs a break, the other starter is going to start in place of him. It's dumb. It's dumb.
It's stupid. And Dest doesn't even play that well out at left back. I don't understand that. Jones for New England, Dwan. I like Dwan.
Again, I think it's one of those things at this point.
Yeah.
I think that ship has sailed for this cycle.
Yeah. What do they call those chicks that warm the guys up?
Fluffers?
Yes. That guy has not even been fluffed. So it's too late.
Yeah.
It's too late. Now it looks like I have tumors on my head. I lost my hat, Brett. I lost my best hat.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the one I wear for every show. It's gone.
How about Acosta?
That's acceptable.
I take it. Option.
And he's done it before.
Yeah.
And he wasn't that shitty at it. I mean, he's better. He's
plus
better than Bello.
Then we'd have a free kick taker on the team.
Yes. I put him in before Bello or Vines as a backup for Anthony Robinson. Honestly, he's a much more competent player, and he's got a wicked fucking cross on set pieces.
What if you're looking at a lineup that includes, say, Cannon on the right, and then Acosta comes in at the left. Acosta pinches up, so we play with the 3-back line, and then you have a midfield where like a Musa and a McKinney can play higher up.
Why would you play Cannon instead of Dest?
Well, assuming Dest is injured, I mean, it's pretty common for him.
Okay, let's not assume those things. Although, you know what? It's not a bad thing to think about. I'm trying to stay positive about injuries.
I'm thinking that's what Berhalter was doing. He's like, what if Dest is injured during the World Cup? I mean, I hope not, but what if? Maybe we should try a 3-back this window. A 3-back.
Right.
It wasn't a pure 3-back. It was only a 3-back on the attack.
Yeah. I'm way overdressed for 100 degrees outside. Although it's only 72 in here. So
that's still fucking hot to be wearing that. Jesus.
It's weird.
I've got my house set to 68, 67, 69, somewhere in that range.
Oh, I haven't done that yet. I'm at 72. I'm at 72 right now.
It's glorious.
I'm just worried right now about how efficient the system is. Like, how many hundreds of bucks am I going to waste getting to 68? I don't know. It's been so fucking hot in Indiana. It's ridiculous right now.
Don't you put that evil on Aronson?
Heard someone the other day on a video recommend Aronson as a left wing back. Well, you know, I suppose if a lot of people die or some people are wounded, maybe, but that's not where he's.
Oh, here's a good one.
All right.
Has ship sailed there? He's our number one goal scorer at the U20 level. So
he was, and he was highly touted. But that whole generation sucked balls. It's called the lost generation. the black hole generation of players, where none of them in that age group amounted to a hill of beans unless they played in Europe and were born in Germany.
No, it still didn't. I mean, that window, that gap, that age is where our gap is.
And I blame it all on that stupid motherfucker who is Dutch and was the scout for the U.S. men's national team and coached our youth national teams from that era. Who?
Ramos?
No, not Ramos. It's that dumb Dutch guy. Who's the dumb Dutch guy?
Stewart. No.
You know what I'm talking about. The dumb Dutch guy. He's still dumb. To this day, he's dumb. And actually, they gave him a coaching job in Florida in the USL team, and he brought in Freddie Adu after Freddie Adu couldn't make a fucking Finnish team, second division Finnish team, and brought him in to revive us.
I'm sure it'll come up in the chat.
He's the guy who was supposed to
Rongen?
was Rongen. Thank you. That fuckface. By the way, he's one of the dumbest people you will ever meet.
Thanks, Casanova.
He is absolutely the only reason he got any career and any pull in the U.S. system at all was because he was Dutch. That's it. He's about the dumbest fucker you will ever meet. And I say that from experience. If you don't want to believe me, you don't have to. Just telling you it's true.
How far back in the show are you?
Nobody want to hear you talk about genitalia masturbation techniques.
Like literally like the 5th minute in?
I don't think we got into techniques.
You were talking about Vaseline, Derek.
No, I was just helping people out who were using Tabasco sauce and other things that don't work.
Well, Phantom Frank says, why is Greg still talking out both sides of his mouth? I think that's the only way he knows how to talk.
It is. And he is in a political job, and so he's got to give political answers. Let's be real here, folks. So I would like to see harder questions that make him juggle those politics a little better. And I think Herc did a really good job with Brooks on it by pressing him and getting a real answer out of him. Whereas Lawless just had a fucking jolly ass laugh and then went back to a whack off question. So, I'm sorry. I didn't want to give you any techniques. That's not really how I do it, by the way. But I don't want to do that. I want to impose my technique on anybody else. That's not an actual technique I use right there.
All right. So Mitch Desi, the great Mitch.
As of right now, what's your EPL bottom 3 prediction? We've got big interest relegation battle again with Jedi, Leeds United, and Richards. I think it'll be Forest, Bournemouth, and Brentford, even though Brentford just signed Jus, Datip, and Yahor. I think they drop. Yeah, boy, this is a tough one to answer right this second.
This is Mitch. Is that something?
Just
are those real players?
No, they're not.
Okay, just the tip.
Yes, just the tip and Yahor. I did that on purpose. Yes.
Sorry, it took me a second.
I mispronounced all of those names on purpose. Jus, Datip, Yahor. But yes, it's just the tip.
That's great.
And Yahor.
Thanks, Mitch.
Yeah, I think you might be onto something. It's really hard to say. I think the first 12 games of the season are going to give us a sniff, but it's really not until the first 20 where you're like, okay, we really know who's going to drop. I think Leeds should be fine. I think Fulham are fucked again because they're really they're not going out and signing a bunch of like stars. So
if Everton continues their current form,
they're in trouble too. Yeah.
So fuck, who knows? Let's see. Spencer James says bottom 3 will be Leeds, Fulham, and Palace. That's awfully nice of you.
I don't think Palace or Leeds will be in the bottom 3.
Leeds have interested in 2 pace merchants and a pressing jizz rag. You have a way with words there, man.
I guess what he's saying is that Aaronson's a jizz rag.
Aaronson would be more of a pace merchant, I'd imagine.
Who's the jizz rag?
I feel like Aronson must be the jizz rag because he's pressing. Maybe. I don't know.
And a pressing jizz rag.
Who's the other pace merchant? Who's the other pace merchant then?
I'm guessing it would be the kid that's coming from Holland, Stara. Sinistera is a pace merchant, and Aronson's not really a pace merchant. He's fast, but he's not that fast. So I don't know who the pressing jizz rag is.
So David thinks that Adams is a press guy.
Oh, okay. Spencer. That's nasty, dude. A jizz rag?
But it really made us think, though. Let's see.
Who has a jizz rag? You just use toilet paper, and then you throw it away and you flush it down. You don't have a jizz rag. You don't have a jizz rag you just have laying around. That's disgusting. At least use Bounty and throw it away afterwards. A dependable jizz rag is a man's best friend. No! Nobody should have a jizz rag when you have Bounty, toilet paper, napkins. Napkins work just fine. You get them at Wendy's, and you put them over by the side of your bed, and whenever you need them, you need them.
Derek, you just showed us your stash of napkins next to your bed.
They're not jizz rags. They get disposed of.
Hoping you're not reusing them.
I just ate at Wendy's. All right? Sorry. But
Fulham are relying on Anthony Robinson, who isn't American.
Okay, I'm about to punch this motherfucker.
And isn't better than Dwayne Jones.
All right, who is Spencer James? Really? We've heard this before. The same language exactly.
Look at the numbers, Derek. Look at the numbers.
Oh, is this one of those temporary secretaries?
The sock account.
Temporary secretary.
Yeah, Chris Richards is a terrible CB. Long Zimmerman, Farrell.
Okay, come on.
Omar.
Is someone
Gonzalez?
Okay, is someone actually online pretending to be Colin?
Well, Mitch jumps in and says, God, you're more annoying than a condom filled with fire ants. Hold on, there's somebody else here. Let's see who else is chatting it up. This is fun. Let's see, Clueless. Richards is back up last season. All of the morons had Palace relegated. Cantered to mid-table and a Wembley semi-final appearance. Over a decade, Palace average finish is 12th.
There's no way Palace should be in that fight. They should be.
Yeah. No. It's definitely a rag on the fact that Richards is now at Palace. And he says Richards is not going to displace a England center back and a Denmark center back.
Probably not, but if they go to a back three, which is what the rumor is that they're working on, then he could be one of the three center backs playing. So two MLS teams beat two teams from a league that is supposedly better than MLS. Well, they are. That certainly won't help your narrative. Which narrative? That what? We need our best players in MLS. It's the fastest growing league in the world and will be number one in no less than 5 years. Man, dude.
That's a massive troll in there, Spencer. I like it. I appreciate it.
You think that's a joke?
I think it's trolling.
You think it's trolling?
I think Spencer's trolling, yes.
Well, that's going to be a long...
I think it's a trolling sock puppet account is what it is.
If he has to jerk off for 5 years or longer before that actually happens, he's not going to have a fucking dick anymore. And it's going to be a long time before we are number one. Long time. Make it never even. Make it probably never.
Fucking hell, Fred.
Oh, no. Okay,
right,
no.
so Fred,
we're not doing this. We're not doing this.
Fred, you're killing me, Smalls.
Fred, Shaker, and Baker, we're not doing this.
I don't need a 3-hour show here.
Can we just have a succinct comment about the two tumors growing out of my hat or whatever and move on? I've got my original scarf on, Brett.
I saw that.
Yeah, it's the original one. I usually hang it on my walls. I haven't had time to do anything about my walls yet. My balls.
I've got mine.
My balls
out.
are my walls. Look
I've
at
got
that.
mine out and about, ready for you. Yeah, I've got the Racing Indy Green one too, the classic. That there are only 100 of those fuckers out in existence.
Before we knew what the name of the team really was going to be, we named it Racing Indy FC, and then they were going to do it. They wanted to do it, but then IMS sued them. So that's a long thing. There are lots of calls that had to be done with
IMS
lawyers.
does not have a trademark on racing. They can suck a dick.
Yeah, they surely can. But of course, on top of the Racing FC thing, Indy FC thing, there was also the Brickyard Battalion, and they were all getting up in our fucking crotch. So I had to have all these calls with lawyers, and we had lawyers and they had lawyers, and they were like, why are you the Brickyard Battalion? We're that. I'm like, hey, it doesn't matter. We're not infringing on it. Brickyard Battalion doesn't infringe on
None of that shit. None of that shit.
None of that shit. And eventually, of course, as you know, as it happened, they became partners with Indy 11, just said, fuck it.
Yeah.
You know?
This is what they should have done from the fucking get-go.
They should have, right from the start. And
Fucking
now, of course, a
stupid
lot
as
of the
hell.
people that used to work at Indy 11 now work at IMS, including Tom.
No, does Tom still work there? He's been posting a lot of shit about an Indiana cricket team.
No, he did move on. But when I had lunch with him about 3 years ago, he was then at IMS. And then, of course, the new president of Indy 11 is the former president of IMS. So they're all like, it's a big clusterfuck there. They're all, it's like an incestuous.
Maybe they should cross six too.
Yeah. they're all, it's all a big, you know, massive, hey, we'll swap you for that swap. We'll give you this guy if you give us that guy kind of thing going on. But what the owner needs to do is, of course, partner much more with the Colts or the Pacers in order to get the kind of money that they need to not only build their stadium, which he can afford, that's Ursel, can afford to do that, but he also needs a bigger partner to put in that big pot of $300 million that would get him to be in MLS, which is what you and I know he always wanted to do. That was his goal. From the start, that was the goal of what we started. And he believed in that goal. He believed in that goal.
Talk to Simon. They've got shit tons of billions.
Yeah, they do. And I think they could get an MLS, but things are getting really tight unless we go to 36
Ursula
teams.
needs to talk to Simon and go, hey, bro, think about all that Apple money.
Yeah, and I don't think MLS is going to stop because every time a new team comes in, they get $300 million to spread around. And I'm sure that's going to go up to $500 million in the next couple of years. So, Izanda, why are you dressed like it's winter in Italy? I'm really not. I always wear a hat. I do have hair. I'm not embarrassed of my hair. It's just it's not in a good state.
This.
You know, it's not in a good state. See, that's not good. That's why I wore a hat.
You just roll out of bed.
And this
Izanda also says, I live in Indiana. It's literally 90 degrees. Why are you dressed like it's winter?
Because it's fucking 72 degrees in my house, dude. That's why. If I were outside, I wouldn't dress like that. That's for sure. No, I would not. And you're right. It's been hot as fuck. Up the love bites from your grandma. Zonda, it's your grandma gave me a bunch of hickeys.
Don't worry, Chris. We're about to hit 2.
Yeah, dude.
We'll meet you upstairs.
I need to hit the sack too. Yes. We love you. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. Brett made me do 2 hours and 13 minutes. Curses to him. I can't believe I did this. I was tired coming into this. But we love you. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing with your grandma, of course, or your aunt, or whomever is around 50 years old, because, they probably like this show a lot. If you know a lot of 50-year-olds, make sure they know about the show. And we will be back after the weekend, and we'll be back on Monday, as usual. Until the next time on the Straight Red Card, stay out of the shark zone. The game is on Saturday. I'm not sure.
G20s?
Yeah. I don't know what time.
I'm pretty sure they said it was on the game itself. And then Canada was playing on the 26th.
Well, I'm going to a dinner with my parents. So I'm not going to be able to watch it live. We're not going to be able to do a show. But I don't even know what time the game is.
Here,
no fucking.
I'm just going to share the screen so that way you can see it.
I'll just watch the replay.
On the U20 page.
Wow. The game's days, dude. How hard is it to get this information?
Guys.
What the fuck? When are they going to wait? They're going to wait a couple hours for the game? Venue and broadcast. Yeah, this is the problem, right? This is the fucking problem.
Oh, no.
Mad, what was that? What did you mean?